way they paint the picture is beautiful. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's fun watching them do it. But, yeah, it's fun listening to Cal when I'm driving.
Is it because of the historic context? Like you feel like it's more of a classic baseball feel to
I think so.
Because you got a truck, too. To be
Yeah.
in your truck, you're driving.
Driving my Chevy.
You know? And
listening
then
to baseball.
No, really, though. I'm imagining it now. And I'm imagining, like, if you're driving in your truck and you're hearing the next home run's going to set history.
Right.
And everyone after that will as well. And that is kind of a more nostalgic baseball feeling.
I think that's exactly what it is. Yeah, so it's cool. And then, my kids have become so accustomed to just listening to talk radio now. They don't even ask for music anymore because they know if the game's on, we're listening to the game. And even they start to get into it. They're asking questions about Cal. My kids are not baseball guys. They watch it. They enjoy going to the games, but they're not one of these guys that are checking the box scores and who's doing what. So being able to explain to them what's actually happening, and then that's exactly what was happening. I'm talking to him about the season that Cal has, and then boom, he hits a bomb. So thanks for making me look like I know what I'm talking about, Cal, in front of my kids. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you. No, it is really cool. We have Mike Vorel is going to be joining us at 11, Seattle Times columnist. And on the one hand, we're going to be asking him the same question that all of us have had all year. Well, how is Cal doing this? And you might think, oh, I know the answer. I think that there are many answers.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are many reasons we're seeing from Cal what we are. I think that you heard Angie talking about him changing his approach to the plate just a tiny bit, getting that work in with Edgar. That was on our last dugout. It's a great listen, a lot of insight there. You talk about maybe just how catchers see pitches slightly differently. And then when you wonder, well, why don't more catchers then have like these amazing averages? You talk about like just the strain that your body has, when you really excel at that position. Considering Cal is a Platinum Glove Award winner at catcher and also doing this is something we haven't really seen before. We haven't. I mean, you've seen Johnny Bench, but I guess not since Johnny Bench. Have you seen someone that excels in that way at both? It's absolutely unreal. And then, you can point to the torpedo bat. You can point to all these other things, his numbers from the right side. Part of it is also just one of the most beautiful things about baseball, which is sometimes you see something you've never seen before, and maybe you'll never see it again, and you just have to sit back and kind of enjoy it. And who knows where this season goes for Seattle, and who knows what happens with Cal. But you know that every single time Cal now steps to the plate, he has the opportunity to do something Mariners fans have never seen before, ever. His next will be history for the Seattle Mariners. And history also, it's already been set for catchers in baseball history. And you just sit and watch it. And that's what's really cool about summer baseball too, right? Like, yeah, we're going to get into September. We're going to get into the playoff race and talk about all the things that need to happen. But sometimes you're just watching to see something you're going to remember for years and years and years. And that's where we're at with Cal.
Yeah, thankfully, because a lot of teams, some teams don't have that. All right, I was looking at the Rockies game the other day, looking at their ballpark. Nobody in that ballpark. And summer baseball is something special. And year after year, right, I've been on this side of the mountains, 18 years now, I want to say. And every year, summer baseball gets even more and more special to me because I'm from L.A., and the weather's always nice. And you have this certain feel when you come to the ballpark, whereas here you got the seasons. And now you have Cal having his story. You got a young star in Julio, who I already see the text lines talking about him. We'll get to Julio. We'll get to all right. It's been fun, and to be a part of what Cal's doing, to witness it, especially with my kids too. It's been awesome because I remember summer '98. I talk about it all the time. Like that is what got me really into baseball. Griffey was a part of it. Obviously, McGuire and Sosa and all those guys. So it's almost like I'm glad Cal is doing this because I get to make my kids just aware of what's happening and take them to a ball game. So it's been fun. On the dad side, it's been great. On the analyst side, it's been fun too.
You have a series against the Yankees that's going to begin tomorrow with a 4:10 p.m. first pitch. Then you've got that series against Detroit. Then you hit the All-Star break. So you've got 6 more games here, right? How many home runs does Cal hit?
6 more games.
How many does he finish before the All-Star break with? 36? His next would be 36.
He's going to have another multi-home run game. That'll be 7 on the year, I think. I'll give him 3 more. I'll give him 3 more. 3 more. I'll give him 3.
Setting so ends with 38.
Yeah.
Too shy. Barry Bonds, Ian, Curtis, what do you guys think? 6 more games here.
I think 4.
4 more?
Yeah. Because they're in Yankee Stadium, right?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, he could
Disneyland.
easily do 4 in that series.
Brooklyn. I know it's in the Bronx, but we make fun of my brother-in-law.
I think I said 37 by the All-Star break, so that'd be 2 more.
2 more.
But that would be rooting for, like, kind of tepid production over the next week for Cal. So
he's going to get intentionally walked, so don't forget that, too. You talked about how bad Yankees pitching has been.
Yeah, they've been god-awful over the last, like, week and a half. I'm going to say Cal finishes with 39.
39?
Yeah.
38, 39, 37?
I think we both had 39 back
39.
here.
Wow.
Does he get to 40?
Yeah, you cowards not taking him to get 41, huh?
Crazy. That'd be nuts.
No, I don't. I think if he got one more, I'd be blown away, but I can't imagine getting 3 or 4. All right, a couple more minutes here. Let's get to the other news we got this weekend. So again, the Mariners sweep. It's 3 shutouts. They're heading to Yankee Stadium, beginning with that series tomorrow. Off day today. We also got great All-Star news. The Mariners with 4 All-Stars. Congratulations to Andres Munoz. Congratulations to Brian Wu. And congratulations to Julio Rodriguez. A very controversial selection. Curtis, you noted that this was obviously a player vote.
Yeah.
So
helps to be popular.
It is. And the All-Star game is sometimes just a popularity contest. And that's what it is for Julio. However, look, I don't think I'm necessarily defending Julio so much as I am saying, like, trying to make sense of outside of just being well-liked by players. I'm like, well, his defense, I mean, I'd argue one of the best pure outfielders in the American League. Yeah,
that's what he's done best, base running and fielding. Yeah, his WAR is 3.4 right now. So Judge is at 6.5. You got Cal at 4.7. Yeah, it's a popularity type of thing as well. And I think that if you just focus on what he does best this year, he is probably the best defensive center fielder in the game right now. So there's something that he is elite at. But no, I kind of giggled a little bit when I heard his name. I was like, really? Julio made it. But that's good for him. It's going to help when it comes to contract negotiations and stuff. But I can understand why some people are kind of shaking their head at this. But listen, man, you mentioned it's a popularity contest at some point, and he is well-liked, and he is the best defensive center fielder in the game.
I kind of see it as, like, you know those rules about, like, you can say something to a sibling, but when someone else does, you're like, I'm throwing hands. That's how I feel about the Julio situation, where, like, I am at a point of being deeply frustrated at times watching him at the plate, particularly in the clutch situations, leaving runners stranded. It's really, really annoying. And it's really frustrating because he's so talented, right? It's not like he's this 35-year-old that's going up there and you're like, he just doesn't have it anymore. What are you going to do? He's 24 years old with a ton of power still. It's just like the swing's a little off. He's a little too early. He's missing like a 93-mile-per-hour fastball down the middle. Like, it's just weird things are happening. That being said, once he was named to the All-Star, I was like, Mariners with four All-Stars. What are you going to do? I call them the Washington Dodgers. That's what I call them.
Dodgers. Dodgers got 5, right?
Yeah.
And then Mariners have 4.
Seriously, the Mariners having 4 is a big deal.
No,
and once
good.
that happened, I completely ignored all fair critical analysis and was like, All-Star City.
No, you support your squad. However, even if you feel like they might not have deserved to get 4 but good for them. First time since 2018. You had Haneker, Diaz, Cruz, and Segura as your All-Stars. Well, yeah, you take your accolades however you can. And I didn't vote, so thank you for everyone who supported Julio Rodriguez in this
Wow,
team.
Bump, you admitted to not voting.
That's wild.
Wow. Exercise
That's
your right,
crazy.
man.
I didn't vote.
In a democracy?
I couldn't do it because I felt like I can't.
Bump, people die.
You can't trust the process
I don't
of
trust the
All-Star
process at all.
voting? You
No,
think
I
it's
don't.
you think it's rigged?
I don't trust All-Star voting. I don't trust
wants
Pro
a
Bowl.
recount.
I don't trust the electoral vote. I don't trust anything. Don't do it.
That's absolutely insane. Do you know a woman who gives her all to the sports community, encourages diversity, and empowers those around her? Seattle Sports is partnering with the Seattle chapter of WISE, which stands for Women in Sports and Events. Together, we want to recognize a woman in our community, and we need your help finding her. Nominations for the 4th Annual Women of Inspiration Award are open now until July 11th. I know she'd vote. The winner will receive a donation to the cause of their choice. Nominate an inspiring woman at woiseattle.org before the deadline. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number 1, the Nationals have fired manager Davey Martinez and GM Mike Rizzo just 3 weeks after Martinez said Washington's failures are, quote, never on coaching. What's the real headline?
Yeah, unfortunately for Davey, it would appear the Nationals ownership did very much blame the coaches for this one, if you needed a reminder as to what that sounded like.
It's never on coaching, never on coaching. Okay, coaches work their asses off every single day. You know, we're not going to finger point here and say it's coaches. It's never on the coaches. Okay, they work hard. The message is clear. All the work is done prior. So sometimes they got to go out there and they got to play the game. It's always been about the players. Always. I played this game a long time. Never once have I blamed the coach for anything.
Yikes.
I played a lot of games where I blamed the coach for something. Like, why'd you make that call? Why'd you make that move? That was just that set him up for disaster there, man. They're 37-53. And when you look at just the way the organization talks about their players, they have the second youngest group of hitters in the league, the sixth youngest group when it comes to the pitching staff. They feel like there's more talent over there. So if the people making decisions feel like there's more talent and you're not getting the most out of it, you are going to be the first to go. You lost 11 straight at some point this year. Since June 1st, they've been shut out or scored one run 7 times, but they scored 9 twice against the Mariners. It's just it's all bad over there. And what's jacked up is that we're still going to look back at this Washington National Series and possibly be kicking ourselves.
Talk about it.
And they just fired everybody over there. So it's a weird situation.
Yeah, I don't even want to get into that part of it. I will say, I can kind of understand how frustrating it might feel as a skipper, as a coach in any sport, to feel like you're doing the best you possibly can and your coaches are and you trust them. And you look at a player who's just not doing what you're telling him to do and you're going, come on, like I can't swing for you. However, I would imagine, and Bump, you actually have experience with being a coach. I would imagine there's a certain point where when you see enough people fail, you go, okay, this isn't getting across. Like at some point, it does get back to you always.
Yeah.
Like at a certain point, it must always turn back around and go back to you. It's not one person that was struggling, it's everyone.
Yeah, someone has to take the blame, though. Someone has to be the fall guy. Every group has it. Every organization has it. And when teams are struggling like this, you're going to look at the skipper, the GM. You're going to make some moves. You're not going to cut everybody on the Nationals and bring up a AAA team. That's not how this thing works. So you got to take some responsibility, and that soundbite is going to last forever.
Someone said we're laying on the Homer mustard thick here for Julio. By what? I just said it's incredibly frustrating to watch him swing and miss at meatballs down the middle. He's early on his swing. Everything's wrong. It's infuriating to watch him. But he's an all-star, so at this point, I'm just like leaning into like, oh, what are you going to do? And I said that very facetiously. How is that laying on Homer mustard? Would you prefer that I said that this team cut Julio?
Mustard.
Like a team that's really struggling to get any consistent offense, go ahead and throw a bat away who's underperforming. That's what you'd prefer. I can't.
Nah, you're good. They hear what they want to hear.
No, I really do think that, like, I'm begging some people to see the middle ground between you can accept a player as underperforming in a deeply frustrating way and also think, fix him, do something, have him fix himself, have something going on there. Because moving on from him, how does that solve any kind of issue for you? Also, you're completely throwing away his defense.
He's still an all-star. Like, we're not going to drop an all-star. He's still a very good player.
I think defense is just wildly also undervalued in baseball. This is not me making some crazy Julio should be an all-star starter stance. This is me saying that because his bat is deeply annoying, I think it's OPSing under 700 now. It's unacceptable. Don't get me wrong. However, you're completely undervaluing what you could do with him if you can tap into it and undervaluing his defense. I'll stand 10 toes down.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 2, the Mariners have 4 players named to the American League All-Star team, including Julio, who received his 3rd All-Star nod. What's the real headline?
If you're mad at anyone, be mad at players. Oh, look at that, a player vote. That's who you can be mad at. Don't waste time being mad at us.
Oh, we didn't put.
I didn't vote for Julio. That's insane.
I didn't vote at all.
I know, exactly. Bump didn't even rock the vote.
I didn't rock the vote at all. No, man, this is it is what it is, man. Julio is still a good baseball player. He does have his struggles. He leads the team in hits right now. His OPS isn't great. You pointed that out. His WAR is at a 3.4. He's such a confusing type of player, but I also think that players view players differently as well. Like players respect Julio because they know what he's capable of doing, and he's shown them before. I think his splits, he's better on the road anyway, so maybe he's showing up to ballparks and guys are seeing things that you're not seeing at home. We know how difficult it is to play as well. And he's a good defensive player out there. It is what it is. I don't think he should have gotten an all-star nod, but
no, I was surprised.
I'm not the one. I didn't vote. The players vote, and they put him in. So just accept it. You know, might not like it, but you got to accept it.
It's just crazy. Like at this point, some of you are actively rooting against your own player, and I think that's crazy. Now, this is a fair question from the 240. When do you think it's going to be time to move Julio down in the order? Yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Am I wrong? Would you move Julio back in the order?
Here's the thing about Julio. I just don't know what his mental's like. I know he's always smiling and having fun and seems like he takes everything in stride, but sometimes moving a guy like Julio might do something to the mental. It just outside looking in, yeah, I would do it, but there's a reason why they're not doing it.
Someone said he plays in a pitcher's park. I could, Stacy, make the All-Star team playing center field at T-Mobile. First of all, thank you for believing in me. Shout out. Love you, too.
That's a pretty expansive outfield.
But that's also a massive outfield. Yeah, I think that once again, it's taking away. It's okay for you to say Julio's defense is really solid this year and just let it be. And it's also okay to say the offense fundamentally needs to be better and it's inexcusable and just let that be.
Yeah. Someone says Julio's not an all-star, and no, Bump, I don't have to accept it. You kind of do. He will be in the all-star game.
Protest? Are you going to storm
I'm not
into
watching.
MLB's offices?
Commissioner
Recount.
Manfred, I challenge Julio's selection of the All-Star
What are you
game.
going to do? I'm sorry, at 10:23 on a Monday, you're going to be that upset about it? Just be like, that was weird. Like Bump said, I literally laughed when I saw it because I knew it was coming, and I was surprised. I did not think he would be an all-star. I was like, are you kidding me? That's insane. But it is what it is.
It's the whole you and what army.
Yeah.
You're going to tell Major League Baseball no? Okay.
I demand you put
Okay,
Juan
pal.
Soto in. Just getting really upset.
Headline rewrites.
Headline 3, Joey Chestnut. 16 Nathan's hot dog eating contest titles. He did it with 70 and a half hot dogs in 10 minutes. What's the real headline?
He also set the record for bathroom trips later that day.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe it.
Man, he said he just turned 40, so he said he's starting to feel his age. Like, what does that feel like at 40, doing what he's doing? I'm going to be 40 in December, and, I feel my body changing. So what does that feel like for the Glizzy champion of the world? What is that? Going to digest it the same? I need more details, Joey.
Were we talking about Kobayashi when you were here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what happened is his central nervous system was ruined for life.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem worth it.
No.
Well, he probably eats so clean, too, man. Joey's been eating bad his whole life. And then didn't Kobayashi say, like, I ate like an American, that's why it jacked me up?
Yeah, and then he was like, now not only do I not really taste things the same way, but I don't feel hungry or full.
Yeah.
He does not feel hunger or being satiated.
Joey been eating McDonald's since 85. Like, his system is different.
I read somewhere that Joey will walk a half marathon on a treadmill. Like when he's done with the Nathans, he just walks all of the salt out of his system for the rest of the day.
God.
I can't imagine
Taking
what
a
that
look.
smells like.
Taking a look at the AL West coming up next.
This summer, the Mariners take over Atlanta with the All-Star Fantastic Four.
Holy smokes!
Andres,
99 crackles over the corner.
Ryan
Wu has retired 13 Yankees in a row.
Julio
Rodriguez dives and he makes the catch.
and Cal.
Number 34 for the big jumpers.
Congratulations to the Mariners All-Star 4 from the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Walking away from an interaction with a customer that says, I can't believe how easy this was. I can't thank you enough for helping me.
Our strategy with pricing is not to be the highest price and not to be the lowest price, but to be a really good price and to provide a really good experience to the customer.
Yeah, I have a ton of really memorable customers. Afterwards, to thank us, he sent us this beautiful basket of like candies and fruits and stuff. It was just really sweet. It felt like we were truly helping.
Receiving a handwritten letter that's personalized to a salesperson or a service advisor or a technician expressing gratitude, and then taking that home and sharing that with your family and hanging that on your refrigerator, that's the difference.
You hear it from one person, and then another, and another. You come to realize it's not a script, it's a belief. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Riverside Roofing has earned GAF Master Elite President's Club certification, which puts them in the 99.9th percentile of all roofers nationally. They're right here out of Marysville. You can find them at riversideroofingllc.com, and they are the roofing company you can trust.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Some things can steal your sunshine.
Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Tired of sitting on your suitcase? 2 words. Packing cubes. Sometimes a different way is the better way. Like the SR 509 Expressway, an alternate route that'll help manage congestion on I-5 and other local roads. Now open and free through summer.
The home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Cal swinging a drive, deep to right field.
Every pitch of every Mariners game is on the Seattle Sports app.
Dave Wyman joined by a very special guest, Dr. Daniel Landis. He's on the Swedish CyberKnife team treating prostate cancer and accepting new patients. Dr. Landis, what could patients expect during CyberKnife treatment?
So the CyberKnife treatment's an outpatient procedure. Essentially, it's a 5-day treatment, about 30 minutes per day. You walk in, you walk out. You essentially don't feel anything at all during treatment. Many patients still work full-time while they're having treatment.
That's incredible. Where are your patients from?
We see patients from all over, patients from out of state, Alaska, Idaho, from all over the world, honestly, since it's such a short treatment.
How can someone get a hold of you?
Yeah, I would encourage patients to reach out to us directly. We'd be happy to schedule a consultation.
Thank you, Dr. Landis and the team at Swedish CyberKnife for the wonderful work they do. And remember, you don't need a physician's referral. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish CyberKnife. Go to swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate. That's swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Pretty Mariners heavy to start the show today. Coming up at 10:45, what's it actually mean to have 4 All-Stars? What should our expectations be for this team? Should we look at the pitching performance they had against the Pirates and feel really optimistic about the second half? Lots of questions. And then we've got questions of our own for Seattle Times columnist Mike Vorel, beginning with How is Cal doing this? I don't know if Mike's going to have an answer, but he'll have some insight. Again, he'll join us at 11 before we get to it. Bump, the AL West is infuriating. I need to vent, and then I want to figure out how you, a much calmer person, more in command of your emotions, is managing what's happening in the West, kind of how you're handling this race, okay? Because for me, I get frustrated. I get real bitter and jealous. I look at the Astros with the easiest remaining schedule in the division, with a series against the Rockies as their first series without Jeremy Pena after Pena was placed on the IL. Maybe they had another game against someone else. But, like, you have Yordan Alvarez, who has a setback, Pena, who goes on the IL. I think they lost another player. And then you're just dealt just a cotton candy landing where it's like, congratulations, don't worry, you're not going to be tested. The toughest remaining opponent on their schedule until the All-Star break was going to be the Dodgers. And I thought, oh, LA, let's go. Come on. Do this for us. And then what happens?
Sweet.
Yeah, absolutely right. They end up sweeping the Dodgers. The next toughest opponent that they'll face, the Tigers, on August 18th. I'm livid. It's like, not only are you getting just massive luck in terms of how you've been playing this year overall, but you're also getting the easiest schedule. What's the messaging here? Like, how are you watching this race? How should Mariners fans be feeling? Because what I don't want to do, Bump, is what I've been doing and what I know some people are. Every day I look at the standings, I see Houston winning another against like some, cupcake opponent, and I just go, what? The Mariners just had to face Paul Skeens.
First off, they not only swept the Dodgers, they put up 18 runs one game.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on there?
Did you hear Dodgers announcers hinting at, like, you wonder, like, being like the Astros, like, maybe they're cheating still?
No, take the L on the chin, man.
No, they're not.
Come on, take the L on the chin. No, I don't. What I do, I don't look at the division standings. I just look at the wild card. Because I'm like, there's nothing in me right now that thinks that the Mariners are going to catch them anytime soon. So why even torture myself with that? I go to ESPN, I click on MLB, go to those standings, don't scroll down, click on the wild card tab, and I go, okay, this makes me feel better. All right, you got 2.5 games up on the Red Sox. The Rays and the Yankees have a game on you. Yankees have been struggling as of late. So that's the way I look at it. I keep it short-term goals for me. Like, catching the Astros is a long-term goal, and yes, you wish that happens with the pitching shaping the way that it has been shaping up. You feel like there's a possibility, but that's too far ahead. That's too far down the road, man. We got a couple stops before we make it a Pullman. You gotta stop at a rest area. You cross Vantage. You go across the Columbia, and then you take your time with this. So I'm not even looking at the AL West standings because catching the Astros is going to take a while. Just look at the wild card and make sure you're keeping pace.
I mean, you are a game back of the Rays with the second wild card spot, so I guess you're staring at that, going, if you just keep winning and Tampa struggles, at least that makes you feel a little more secure. You're rooting against Boston. The Rangers are 4 games back of you. You do have, I believe, a series against the Red Sox at some point. No?
Yeah.
Those in the rear view? Maybe that was when I was looking at Houston's schedule.
Go to Fenway early in the season?
Yeah, they're done with the Red Sox.
Just kidding. They're done with the Red Sox.
Okay.
Houston, they're still facing the Red Sox.
Houston.
So, I mean, it's just, I know that it is in the Mariners' interest, and you do hold a wild card spot to just keep winning. And that's all you can control right now. So maybe you're right. Maybe that's how we just need to look at it. Is like, you aren't settling for a wild card. You're just trying to take something from winning, even if you didn't make up ground in the division.
Yeah, you want to appreciate the wins, and that's what's it's hard for some people to do, especially look at this last series. You win your first game 6-0, and you go 1-0, 1-0, and you could look at it, and you'll be fair to look at it and say, well, here we go. We're not producing runs. We're putting too much on the pitching. But if I want to lean on something, I want to lean on the strength, and that is the pitching. So grind out a 1-0 win, another 1-0 win. You swept the series, okay. What does that do for you? What does it do? It keeps you in the wild card race. It keeps you ahead of a couple teams, the Red Sox or whatnot. And to me, that is the only way I can watch this and appreciate the W's. Because if not, what do? The first thing I do is the Mariners win. Let's see what Houston did today. And playing that game is going to drive you insane.
That's the game I play. I'm playing that game currently. I don't like it.
I suggest you switch up the game.
I'm not having fun.
Yeah, switch it up. Because that's no way to live right now.
No, I'm doing it like this really psycho comparison thing where I'm just like, the Astros get everything. And then I realize I'm like, wait, stop. You're being an insane person. so then how do I feel about this race? That's what I'm going to do then. Okay, that's what me and everyone else who's just staring at the Astros, ruminating about their schedule is going to do, is just continue to look at what the Mariners are doing, keep those blinders on, look at you winning, and that's all that you you focus
on. Blinders on the horse, right? And horses, when they race, they put little blinders on them and say, run your race.
They can't see forward because their eyes are like more on the side. So when they do blinders, it's like their vision is like
directing their eyes forward.
Yeah, it's like they can't really see much of anything.
Wow. You gotta trust the jockey.
Just
the jockey? Trust Cal. Cal's the jockey right now. Cal and Wu.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, someone said the 425, Cal will save us. And while Cal has been accounting for more than a third of the Mariners' home runs, and yes, carrying this team, you are going to need to look to someone else. Could that someone else be Randy Rosarena?
It is Randy. It has to be Randy. That says over in the show, I'm shifting my focus. Yes, Julio is an all-star. Congratulations, whether you think he deserves it or not. But you got to go with the hot hand. And right now, it's Randy. And he's performing the way that we expected him to perform coming into the season and the way he finished off last year. Yeah, it has to be Randy, man. He's been the most consistent. How many bombs he got in the last week or so?
Oh, geez. 5? 5 in the last how many games? I know he had 4 and 3 and then added another. So now I'm losing my math about the game. Something like 5 and 6 or 5 and 7.
Yeah, it's got to be Randy. He's in a good place right now. You got to ride that. And he's not going to be able to do this forever. He's not on some Cal stuff at this moment. But you need those spurts. And if he can push out another week, I'd appreciate it, Randy. And hopefully you come back from the All-Star break refreshed, ready to go. And maybe this does something to Julio. I heard someone suggest, or maybe I saw it on the text line, suggest that Julio should get into the home run derby to kind of make him elevate the ball again and kind of see. It's kind of like when shooters are missing shots. You got to get to the free throw line, right, and see the ball go in a few times. Maybe Julio just pulling it and elevating the rock will get him into a little groove.
It is really fascinating. I don't know what he's tinkered about his swing, his approach, the attack angle, whatever it is, but significantly fewer fly balls, more ground balls. Are crazy right now. It's just clearly something has changed.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a driveline thing, but I saw a Twitter video about his swing path is more straight through the zone versus up because he was trying to cut down on strikeouts.
Julio, get the strikeouts.
Exactly. I think care. If the slugging is good enough, that's not really something you have to worry about.
Yeah, the difference for me between writing K or 5-3 is not really doing anything right now. I'd rather it be, maybe you strike out twice, but you get a home run at this rate. With how this team is constructed and the fact that not only are you not driving in runners, but when you get on base, sometimes those runners aren't driven in. Sorry, but maybe lesson learned that when you're hammering on a player for strikeouts, that maybe that's just part of his game and he's not going to be able to cut that effectively.
Yeah.
So, all right, what's it actually mean to have 4 All-Stars and what should we make of Julio's nod? That's coming your way next.
This summer, the Mariners take over Atlanta with the All-Star Fantastic Four.
Holy smokes!
Andres.
99 crackles over the corner.
Ryan
Wu has retired 13 Yankees in a row. Julio Rodriguez dives and he makes the catch.
And Cal.
Number 34 for the Big Dumpers.
Congratulations to the Mariners All-Star 4 from the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Summer is the time to feel and look your best, but I'm not talking about your abs or tan. Guys, I'm talking about your hair. Restore that bald spot, reverse your receding hairline, or add volume to thinning during Advanced Hair's once yearly summer savings event. Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment begins to regrow your very own hair the very next day, and they guarantee your new hair will grow. They are the team that addressed my hair loss, and I recommend them to everyone. Take advantage of your flexible summer calendar and get the most hair for your dollar. Advanced Hair's summer sales event is on for a limited time. So get the details and schedule your free consultation today. 425-449-8185. One-day treatment, life-changing results. With Advanced Hair, your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Check out the incredible before and afters and make the call now while their summer savings event is still on. That's 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Is your car road trip ready? Don't get stranded. Get to Bucky's Complete Auto Repair. Bucky's has been preparing cars, trucks, and SUVs for safe, worry-free travel for over 50 years. We take care of your car with experience and good old-fashioned customer service. For all your oil changes, brakes, AC charging, and factory maintenance, choose Bucky's. No appointment needed, and yes, friendly financing is available. Visit Bucky's.com. Bucky's, where your car feels right at home.
Do you have a car you'd like to sell but don't want to go through all the hassle? With all the scams and security risks out there, more and more people are uncomfortable selling their own car. So how do you get the most money for your used car without selling it yourself? Stacy here with the answer. Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Not only will they purchase your car and pay you right up front for it, but it gets way better. Once they resell your old car, they share half the profit with you. The question I get most from my friends and colleagues is, what's the catch? And how can they offer this? It's super simple. All the money they save by not traveling to buy cars at auctions, like purchase fees, shipping, and travel expenses, is what allows them to offer this. They'd rather share that money they save with you than outside vendors. They encourage you to shop around, but if Wayscar Ford can pay you the same or more as their competitors and then share half their profit with you once they resell your car, why would you sell your car anywhere else? They've already shared over $800,000 with customers, and it's only at Wayscar Ford. That's wayscarford.com, Wayscar Ford in Auburn.
Seattle Children's is leading the fight against pediatric cancer with groundbreaking research in immunotherapy. It reprograms a child's own T cells to hunt down and destroy cancer. It's hope, powered by science. But here's the truth. Pediatric cancer research is drastically underfunded. That's why Safeway is stepping up, and you can too. G. Scott here asking you to say yes to donating to ImmunoHeroes next time you're at Safeway checkout. Together, we can help fight cancer for all kidkind.
Do you know a woman that gives her all to the sports community, encourages diversity, and empowers those around her? Shannon Dreyer here. Seattle Sports is partnering with the Seattle chapter of WISE, which stands for Women in Sports and Events. We want to recognize a woman in our community, and we need your help in finding her. Nominations for the 4th Annual Women of Inspiration Award are open until July 11th. The winner will receive a donation to the cause of their choice. Nominate an inspiring woman at woiseattle.org.
The home of the Mariners.
Left off to center. It is on its way. Julio, 2-run home run.
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
At 65 years old, Brian has a rather demanding hobby.
My biggest passion is snow skiing, and I ski between 70 and 80 days per year. And I ski instruct at a private resort in Montana.
Needless to say, that can be a bit tough on the joints.
When this knee started to bother me, I thought I'm doomed.
That's when Brian decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
If I did yard work or skied a few days in a row, I was fighting swelling and pain and no sleep and all sorts of problems, and that has absolutely gone away.
So are you back on the slopes?
I mean, I had a 14-day stretch with clients where I skied every day and I had no problem. It was fine. It was just like, I felt like new.
So I'm guessing you would recommend this to others.
Oh, I already have. I've told everyone that'll listen.
Whether it's a shoulder, hip, or knee, before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
It's really, truly a miracle.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Oh my God, Bump, I didn't tell you this actually until right now when I was thinking of it. I had too much bronzer on my face. And I was like, oh, that's embarrassing. But then I thought of something else that was embarrassing. All weekend, every single time, because I watched the whole series with my mom and my sister, and every single time they would show Dan Wilson, they go, there's your best friend, Dan. Because
that's your boy.
And I didn't share this part on air, but when I was in the dugout on, oh God, when was it?
Wednesday?
Thursday? Yeah, when I was in the dugout on Wednesday, Dan Wilson sat down with very reflective sunglasses that was hard to see and was like, well, hey. And he was looking at me, and there's no reason for him to be talking to me, but he's not looking at anyone else. And I just went, like, I just smiled, like, hey.
Good seeing you too, Dan.
Good seeing you too, Dan.
Funny seeing you here.
And then I turn, and I forget who was next to Riz, but I think, was it Buhner? It was someone. And I was like, oh, this is very much not to me. And then I decided that the way to play this off would be, I'll just smile at everyone. So I'll just make eye contact with multiple media members and smile so that they know that that's just what my face does.
That's just what I do.
That's just what I do. I didn't think that's insane. I didn't think Dan was talking to me. No, I'm not an egomaniac. I was just saying hi to everyone. So anyways, they thought that was very embarrassing and just kept doing that all weekend long. And it was embarrassing. The Mariners have the Mariners have 4 All-Stars, which is very, very cool. I wanted to talk about not just what that means, if anything, to you, but also how it might change the outlook for the second half, if at all, for you. Because when you think about it, nothing at all.
It does nothing.
You don't think it's a little crazy to think just in like a big picture that the Mariners have 4 All-Stars. I know only one is a starter, only one. But 4 All-Stars, I mean, that's like one fewer than the Dodgers who have the most.
Yeah, it does nothing to me because one of the All-Stars is questionable, I think. And Julio, you could argue for or against it. You do you. Wu has just been consistent. Cal's done his thing, and then Munoz has been the closer with 20 saves this year. We've seen this from those 3 all year. This isn't anything new. Yet you're still in this position that you're in, 7 games behind the Astros, 3rd in the wild card spot. You still got some work to do. It's fun. Mm-hmm. You pat yourself on the back and say, look at us. We produced 4 All-Stars this year, but it don't mean anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. You still got to come out this second half and produce. You pointed out the Astros have the easiest schedule in the second half. You getting recognized like this, it does something for the profile of the organization. It does something when it comes to contracts for all of these guys, right? You have incentives and stuff, and it helps them individually. But as a team, it's going to be fun to see Mariners out there, but you still got some work to do.
Now, very cool for Brian Wu. He talked about his family's reaction to him getting an All-Star selection.
Yeah, a lot of screaming, not a lot of words at first, but they were super excited, obviously super proud. I think obviously we're all kind of hoping, but like I said before, you kind of, there's not really a whole lot you can do about it. So kind of just hope. And but yeah, they're super excited. Obviously they've been, them, my sister, girlfriend, family, everybody has been super supportive. And, they're a big reason why I feel like I've been able to do what I do. So this is, just as important for them as it is for me.
Yeah, Brian Wu playing it cool. He's got to feel really proud of himself, though. Yeah. And it is really, really cool, obviously, to have these 4 All-Stars. I think it's just challenging me a little bit, if nothing else. I tend to fall to doom very quickly in general with anything, right? I can't find a parking spot at the mall. I'll never find a parking spot. I'm just not supposed to be at the mall today. I guess I'll go home. Like, just no matter what it is. And I know that we fall to that very easily and swiftly when it comes to the Mariners, and for fair reason, right? They've given people a lot of things to be heartbroken about, but I found myself challenging my own perception of how much talent this team has or doesn't have, and thinking, you know what? You got one of the best closers in baseball, best catcher in baseball, a great starter in Wu, and the rest of your starters are getting healthier or are at least getting more innings under their belt after coming back from the IL. Is it worth thinking you might have a better second half than you think?
Yeah, it's worth it. I mean, you got Randy playing some good ball. You got young Williamson and Cole Young getting better, getting these at-bats. That's crucial for their development. You have a catcher who's having the best first half from a catcher we've ever seen. And you have, honestly, the rotation is looking like what we expected, finally, right? Castillo's looking better. Woo's doing his thing. Kirby's solid. Gilbert. There's reason for you to be optimistic. There's reason for you to believe that they can possibly make a push. But I don't want the 4 all-star nods to make the people making the decisions feel like everything's fine. No, the goal when developing a team or putting a team together is to get better throughout the season, right? And that comes with the players. The players need to perform and do their thing. But what can you do to support them? That's your job as the president, as the owners. What can you do to support this team so you can build off of this? It's not just, okay, you got 4 all-stars. We're good. We're in the 3rd wild card spot. We're Gucci, because a lot of the Mariners' success depends on what goes on around them, like what other teams don't do, right? And you don't want that feeling. You want the feeling that your team is in control of the situation and they're good enough just to have a second half and keep going. I think there is talent on this roster. They can make it interesting, but your job is to support this team properly.
Yeah, and I've seen a couple people say, well, it doesn't mean anything if they don't add. Why would they not? If they don't, you'll hear us railing against it all day long because you have no excuse but to add at the deadline. I know it's a seller's market, and I know it's really tough, but you have the 5th best farm system in baseball. You have 9 top 100 prospects, I think, the most in baseball. You've got a team in a wild card spot right now for a team that, Curtis, how many times ever has made the postseason?
5 times.
Gross. Of course you should add at the deadline. Why are we even talking like they shouldn't or won't? Now, once they do, we can decipher whether or not it actually helps them, whether or not they actually made themselves better. Were there these hybrid sellers, buyers at the deadline, or did they actually add at the deadline the way a team that wants to and thinks it will make the playoffs does? That's a conversation we'll get to as we inch towards the end of the month. But, I think saying right now, well, it doesn't mean anything if they don't add is kind of a worthless statement.
Yeah.
Because they must.
They must.
They have no choice.
But good job with 4 all-stars. Good job.
Yeah.
But more work to do.
We have a lot of questions for Mike Vorel, who's going to join us next, starting with Cal Raleigh, but kind of going around the horn with this team. Don't go anywhere.
This summer, the Mariners take over Atlanta with the All-Star Fantastic 4.
Holy smokes!
Andres.
99 crackles over the corner. Ryan Wu has retired 13 Yankees in a row.
Julio
Rodriguez dives and he makes the catch.
And Cal.
Number 34 for the Big Dumpers.
Congratulations to the Mariners All-Star 4. From the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Hey, Brock Ewart here with my buddy Dave Taylor from First Mark Insurance. So glad, so thankful that Molly and I made the call. Had heard so many First Mark Challenge victories, we needed to take that challenge. What does happen from your perspective when that caller, when that email, when that person reaches out to you for a First Mark Challenge victory?
That's a great question. So there's several steps we go through in the process. The first step is we're going to gather information, find out all we can about that client and what their needs are. The next step is we will go out to the market. We have dozens and dozens of carriers that will compete for the business. At the end of that process, we will then bring those findings back to the customer, show them what we found, and who the eventual winner was in that competition.
And it may be who they're with.
It might be, yes. And sometimes that's the best we can do is recommend they stay where they are, but maybe modify a few coverages to put them in a better position.
So go take that challenge today. Go be the next First Mark Challenge victory. It costs you nothing, and they will be there with you every step of the way. FirstMarkInsurance.com. FirstMarkInsurance.com.
Dave Wyman here for Harley Exteriors. When you hear Harley Exteriors, think windows manufactured right here in Washington, specifically designed for our Pacific Northwest climate. Olympic Series windows are offered exclusively by Harley Exteriors. It looks absolutely stunning, much better than a traditional vinyl window, and these windows last up to 60 years. They're going to lower your energy bills and provide year-round comfort. They come with a double lifetime, fully transferable warranty, meaning not only are you covered for glass breaking or damaged seals, It's going to help you with your home's resale value. Very affordable with options like 0 payments and 0 interest up to 12 months for qualified buyers. In July, Harley Exteriors is offering 50% off basic installation, no payments, no interest for 12 months, and an additional $200 off your entire project. Call 833-HARLEY or go to harleyexteriors.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Hey, everybody, it's Bob Stelton here. And let me tell you about one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. I went to K2 Vision for refractive lens exchange. Now, I'm somebody who struggled with up-close vision. I couldn't read restaurant menus. I couldn't read receipts. I couldn't read the text on my phone. I had this crazy large font on there. I put the readers away. I went to K2 Vision, and I'm actually reading some of what I'm saying to you right now. I couldn't do that before. It's amazing. So if you're like me, you struggle with distance vision, or you always need a pair of glasses, K2 Vision RLE is quick. It's absolutely painless, and I am seeing great without glasses or readers. RLE is a game changer. I'm excited to spend my good active years not needing reading glasses. K2 Vision RLE gave me great vision that, more importantly, is permanent. The doctors at K2 Vision have performed over 150,000 lens procedures, so they know when RLE is right for you. Schedule your free Zoom consultation today at K2VisionRLE.com. K2 Vision RLE. No readers, glasses, contacts, or cataracts. That's K2VisionRLE.com.
Everyone always asks me, what were your top reasons for choosing Advanced Hair? Well, allow me to share, along with some details on, get this, their once-a-year summer savings event. Okay, first off, Advanced Hair stands by the results, and I'm living proof those results are second to none. With Advanced Hair, your own natural hair is guaranteed to grow. Secondly, Advanced Hair combines top-rated physicians with modern technology, creating a concierge quality experience that blew away my expectations. And lastly, Advanced Hair's Advanced FUE begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. It is quick, simple, and easy. Now, if you have a flexible schedule this summer and you've been waiting for that special savings opportunity, well, it's here. Advanced Hair's summer savings event will get you the most hair for your dollar. It's their best offer ever. For details to schedule your free consultation, call 425-449-8185. One-day treatment, life-changing results. Your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Before and after pictures at advancedhair.com.
The countdown is on.
16 days until Seahawks training camp.
On the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports. 710 KIRO AM Seattle and KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners swept the Pirates over the weekend. More than that, they had 3 straight shutout wins over Pittsburgh. It's the first time in franchise history the club has pitched 3 straight shutouts. Off day today, extra innings coming your way at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. here on Seattle Sports with the latest Mariners news and a preview for their next series. Then it's on to New York, Game 1 against the Yankees tomorrow, 4:10 p.m.
Snapshot brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Speaking of Julio Rodriguez, we were just talking about him getting that all-star nod, it being kind of a controversial pick. Home and road splits, staggering from Curtis Rogers. We'll get to that in just a little bit.
Stunning.
She's stunning. Joining us now, Seattle Times columnist Mike Vorel on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Hey, Mike, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you guys?
Good. I warned you that we'd be bringing you on, demanding you tell us exactly how Cal Raleigh's doing this. And I can only assume that you have an exact answer, but maybe not. What are you seeing from Cal this season, Mike?
Well, I can remind you that when you told me that, I responded that I won't have answers. I'll come on anyway.
I said you have 48 hours.
You said, yeah, you gave me a hard bargain. But, no, I mean, I'm saying the same thing everyone else is, which is history and a player who obviously, was a very productive member of this team in previous seasons and gave you what you'd consider to be high power, performance from a catcher. And the thing with Cal is, I think it's easy for people to compare sort of franchise faces and look at Julio and look at Cal. And there's some frustration around Julio because there's just that stagnation. And I think people want to see progress and they want to see adjustments. And Cal has been, the epitome of an adjustment throughout his career. The homers just continuing to rise every season. And he's a guy who, it's been said a bunch of times, but was sent back down to the minors, when he first came up and had a really tough start to 2021 and 2022 and just has gotten better and better and better. So I think when I look at Cal, I look at a player who, obviously is one of the faces of baseball right now, but also is one of the faces of improvement. And that's something that's really a joy to see when you're a Mariners fan.
4 All-Stars, we had a conversation about this, and I told Stacy, yeah, you pat yourself on the back, but there's still a lot of work to do. When you look at the Mariners squad, what's the biggest? Is it the same big deficit, the same thing? Just got to add a bat, or do you feel like if they weren't to be as aggressive as people want them to be at the trade deadline, there's still enough here for them to make a push and maybe grab a wild card spot?
Yeah, no, I think there's a couple sides to that coin. I think, I think this team is capable, probably as is, of grabbing a wild card spot. But I think that says less about the Mariners than it does about the state of the American League. And it's like this is a team that's in position right now to eke its way in and is incredibly flawed, but it's in a league where you can go essentially 500 right now and possibly be a wild card team. So when you look at the Mariners, I think what we saw this weekend is the most important development. Yes, they obviously absolutely need to add a bat, maybe 2 bats, maybe a reliever. But the biggest thing is, can this team rediscover its massive strength, which should be its starting pitching? And, we saw that over the weekend with the incredible Castillo start. Obviously Wu was great and Kirby was incredible yesterday. And that's who they can be because, what is the separator for this team? Ultimately, if they're going to do damage and if they're going to have an argument to be made that, hey, we're as dangerous as anyone in the playoffs if we make our way in, it's got to be because they can pitch with anyone and they can basically hit homers, keep games close, and out-pitch teams and then have a great back end to your bullpen. So if they can rediscover that formula, which it seems like they're doing, that's just as important or more important than adding, a decent bat at first base or third base come the deadline.
I wanted to go back to your first answer. I just really liked it. And you said not only one of the faces of baseball right now, which is cool, but also one of the faces of improvement. And I immediately started thinking of a lot of different storylines to come from this. And I think that right now you're starting to see, and apologies to Cal, who I think any slugger just doesn't always earn the benefit of the doubt with the history of steroids in baseball. People immediately go, test them. Oh my God, like that's the only explanation. And I think that I completely understand the sentiment and have also joked to like Bump and Curtis about it. But I think that what people forget about sports in general is that sometimes not only can scouts get it wrong, but like we as viewers can put a false ceiling on a player before we really know. And we've seen this we've seen it in football. We've seen it in a number of other places where we just say, like, this is who this player is and he can't be any better, and leave no room for error when there's still very much a human at the center of that and the work that he can put in. And Cal's never going to be a guy that steals 25 bases. Unfortunately for him, I'm sure he'd love to. But he can be a guy that, for instance, learned how to hit from the right side. And from everything I've heard, that started long before this season. He was working on this prior to 2024, putting in that extra work. So what can you say about what you've heard about maybe Cal, the worker, his work ethic, maybe like his baseball mind, kind of the other things that have gone into play into that improvement?
Yeah, I mean, we did a big spring training story. Ryan Divish did of the Seattle Times a couple of years ago, where he spent a full day with Cal at spring training, which meant like getting up and getting to the facility at whatever it was, 4:35 a.m., hours before anyone. And it's because like we've talked about, people acknowledge it and they know it, but I don't think they truly understand the kind of shifting responsibilities and all the balls that are in the air when you're preparing an entire pitching staff and you're trying to work strategies and trying to figure out game plans for those guys. And basically it's the most selfless position in terms of you have to have a whole boatload of responsibilities taken care of before you think about yourself. And to have that improvement simultaneously, like you said, is kind of the most incredible thing. And we were messaging over the weekend, and kind of the craziest thing to me, like I had said then, is just his righty hitting splits are crazy, where, over the weekend in 2025, he was hitting probably somewhere still around there, but 333. His OPS is 823 from the right side. He has 14 homers. I forget, it looks like medicine. You give it time, it always works. It's just basic. For Woo, it's just controlling his pitches, controlling his fastball, both of his fastballs. I think he has been able to work the off speed and control that and throw that for a strike a little bit more. But it's amazing that it's a guy who just he's not doing the thing where he comes into spring training and he's added the pitch from Instagram that everybody's freaking out about. But he just does what he does with such smoothness and with such a consistency right now. And I think he's able to control his pitches, and he's been able to just give you that consistency and that length. That's been the most incredible thing about him is you just, you write in 6 innings every start. And for a staff that has had so many question marks, he's been, the exclamation point this entire time.
What's your bird's eye view analysis of Julio? I find him to be both frustrating but also deeply fascinating just as a player.
Yeah, I was thinking about why so many fans are so frustrated, so kind of inordinately frustrated with Julio. And I think there's a lot in the comparison between Julio and DK Metcalf in terms of the guy who just seemingly has every physical, advantage in the book. And I think people become frustrated with those guys because they see what they can be. They see all of the physical tools. And when you have all this potential, and it seems like maybe to some people that you're not realizing all of it, that can become deeply frustrating. But I think for Julio, it's just one of those things where when we talk about the Cal improvement, I don't think we've seen it in quite the same way in terms of pitchers attack Julio the same way that they attacked him 2.5 years ago. It's, we're gonna burn him inside with the fastball, and then we're gonna throw off-speed stuff off the plate away, and he's gonna, possibly flail at the slider and not be able to reach it. And it just seems like there's been such a difficulty to be able to adjust to that in the strike zone and to be able to negate the way that opposing pitchers are attacking you. So with Julio, there's so many things that he does positively that we know about in terms of playing great defense. And, he's still getting on base. He's still slapping singles. He still hits the ball very hard when he does. But I think what's frustrating for everyone is just the inability to make those adjustments. And it's something where the talent is obviously there, and at some point maybe we'll see him be able to do that and force teams to go about it differently in terms of how they approach him, but he hasn't been able to do that to this point.
Hey, because of Julio's struggles, I've kind of shifted my focus when it comes to who's going to help Cal out the most to Randy Arozarena. 14 home runs so far this year, 42 RBIs. His best year when it comes to hitting bombs was in 2023. He had 23 bombs and 83 RBIs. He's 30 years old. Is this can he get better? Like, can we see even a better year from Randy Arozarena? And am I fair in asking him to be the number 2 guy?
I think that's a fascinating question because I don't know if it's fair because I don't know if it's fair to ask anyone to be that person because this is just a team full of guys who all need each other to pitch in at this point. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay to have a team where everyone is, a little bit above average and everyone is kind of playing to their potential. And I think obviously the thing that's been bemoaned for years and years for the Mariners, at least the last couple of years, was why is everyone slumping at the same time? Why is no one playing to the baseball card? And I think this is still a lineup where if everyone does what they're capable of doing, if Polanco is that guy, if Arozarena is that guy, they can have, an above average to competent offense. But in terms of Randy, yeah, I think, I don't think he's going to be this player he's been for the last week if you extrapolate that to the season. But obviously he has that power. He has that in him, and he's been that guy in the postseason. So I do think it's fair once you go into, the most important months and kind of the clutch months and go into possibly postseason baseball to expect that from a guy like this, because he's always been a clutch player. The question has been, will he show up to the games when the lights aren't quite as bright? But from here on out, the lights are only going to get brighter. So I think expecting some version of Randy that's pretty darn productive is a fair thing to ask.
The Mariners are, I know we just asked you about a really fascinating player in Julio. The Mariners are also a really fascinating team. It's not easy to not make the playoffs for that many consecutive seasons. Finally, they did it in 2022, which was awesome. One of the best experiences I've ever had watching baseball, and the only time as a teenager or adult that I've ever watched playoff baseball. And it was cool, and that was the experience for a lot of people here in Seattle as well. I can never tell, though, Mike, whether this is a team that just draws the short stick when it comes to how hard it is to truly succeed in baseball when you're this kind of like mid-market team, or if they have some self-imposed, even unintentionally self-imposed limitations. Have you been able to, in your coverage of this team, I know that you cover quite a few teams here in Seattle, but in your coverage of this team, have you been able to identify like, man, if they could just get out of their own way here, or if they could just get past some bad luck here, is there an area that you see that's just kind of been a thorn in their side?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's that simple. And I think if it was, then there would have been more postseason appearances at this point. But I do think, I don't think you can sit here and say, well, they're just a smaller market team and it's this hard to do, because, the formerly Oakland Athletics had made the playoffs a whole bunch of times since 2001 while spending even less money than the Mariners and just consistently developing players and doing what they do and finding ways to, win wild cards and win some divisions. And obviously they're not that team this year, but they had consistent stretches of being able to pump out talent and then not pay them and let them walk and then bring in, more talent that they develop through drafting and development through their system and all that stuff. So I just think, this team, like you said, it's not easy, and they've lost a whole bunch of different ways, and they've fallen short by a game a whole bunch of different ways. But when it comes down to it, this is a team that is talented enough to be in that position, and it's on its face, it's not that hard to make the playoffs in the American League in 2025. So, do they have what it takes to do it? They certainly do. But I do think that with this specific franchise, when you have so many years of not doing it, that's always kind of in your face as you're moving into these months. So can they kind of push through that? We're going to find out. And obviously, I think the front office is going to be pretty motivated to make them better as well.
He is Seattle Times columnist Mike Vorel. Thanks, Mike. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, guys.
Let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, which, quote, franchise quarterback could be on the hot seat in 2025?
It's a weird hot seat because it's more like we have to decide which way we want to go. And there's been so much change at this organization that if we don't perform, this team doesn't perform, and you have a season like you had last year or the year before, you can have a higher draft pick and kind of reset. And
so it's like you got to clock in.
Yeah. So I'm thinking Trevor Lawrence, right?
Okay.
Because during this whole deal, you could use Trevor Lawrence as a trade piece. Let's try to move up in this draft and go get a young quarterback. We know we got Mr. Duval over there as the new head coach. And he's going to say the right things. He likes Trevor Lawrence. I think you should like Trevor Lawrence. But he hasn't really had a season that wows you, right? He did make the Pro Bowl in 2023, but he threw 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, completed 66% of his passes. That's an average quarterback. They did win 9 games. That's an average quarterback. He has that talent, but how many times are you going to allow this mediocrity to be there? Now, he signed an extension in 2024, a 5-year deal, but I think that he might be better off somewhere else, and Cohen, the new head coach over there, might just want his guy. So you could use him to move up in the draft and say, all right, let's get a top 5 pick, a top 3 pick, because you have that type of talent here. It's not even a bad thing, I think, for Trevor Lawrence or for the Jacksonville Jaguars, because the change of scenery just might be better for him. But It's Trevor Lawrence, man. He's got to come out and do some things over there. 2-8 last year, 8-8 year before that, 9-8 year before that, 3-14 year before that. Numbers are average. Nothing too crazy going on with Trevor Lawrence.
I hear what you're saying, though. It's almost like, okay, even if he's not going anywhere, we're going to check in with how we evaluate this player overall. And there's a certain point where we go, okay, maybe we lower the ceiling of what he can do there.
Yep.
Second down. Ken Walker did not appear on Jeremy Fowler's top 10 running backs list. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's completely fair. And I think we're going to talk about this later on the show a bit more in depth, so I'll save some of it. But Ken Walker, his rookie season, he had 10 big runs. So those are runs over 20 yards. That was second best in the league. After that, 7 big runs in 2023, 6th in the league. And then obviously last year he was banged up, 5 big runs. He's down in the 20s or whatnot. It's completely fair because you have to be available. The reason why Derrick Henry can put up the numbers that he puts up is because you know he's going to be there every single week. Same thing with Saquon Barkley. He has some of the talents that Saquon has. Not as good as Saquon, but can do some of the things that Saquon can do. But if you're not available, you're no good to your football team. And no, you shouldn't be on this list. But he is getting some recognition. I think people realize that when he is healthy, if he's in the right offense, if he is giving the zone a chance, he's getting downhill, he can be something special. So, like other things, I hope this just motivates the young man and says, you know what, I should be on this list. I'm going to grind, get downhill, and do what I'm supposed to do. But completely fair that he's not on the list. I think they did a good job with this list, actually.
Third down. Who's a free agent you feel will have a bounce back year?
It's a weird one, too, because I feel like his rookie season was so great. His first 2 seasons, he had over 800 receiving yards, 9 to 10 touchdowns, looking good. He's a big, fast receiver. Then he falls off. I think maybe the success got to his head a little bit. And then he goes into camp last year with the Buffalo Bills, jacks up his toe, thought he was going to be back, ends up missing the whole season. Chase Claypool, man, I think that somebody could hit with him. And I'm looking at the available wide receivers out there. There's some old heads out there, man. Keenan Allen is still available. He's got 12 years in the game. You got Amari Cooper out there. He's got 10 years in the game. Jamison Crowder's got 10 years in the game. I think this is a perfect type of recipe for a team to go out, not have to spend a lot of money, and get yourself a potential number 2 type of receiver because he's been humbled with his play and with injury. And he says he's bigger, faster, stronger than ever. Of course, he's going to say that. You say all the right things when you need a job. But I think that a team can get lucky with a Chase Claypool, man. He can't be your number 1, but if you need a guy to give you about 700-800 yards, he could be the dude.
Not Claypool, and I'm great with Microsoft Excel.
Right.
4th down.
I'm good with PowerPoints.
I speak conversational Spanish, just conversational. Don't test me on it. Is there a free agent the Hawks should entertain bringing into training camp?
Yeah, he's been banged up a little bit, but at this point of the year, you're still looking for guys to help with that offensive line. We talked about Scherf last week, and he's in his 30s, at 31 years of age. Was with the Jacksonville Jaguars last. But I mentioned this guy earlier in this whole process, and I'm still going to mention his name again. Will Hernandez is still available. He's still out there. He had a win rate when it comes to pass block at 94% the last 3 seasons. He's good in the run block. He has good footwork. He's 30 years of age. I get that, but those are the type of guys you're going to be looking for to help this offensive line at this point. You're not going to find some young 25-year-old stud who's just sitting at home waiting for a job. These are the type of guys that you're going to find. So, yes, we connected Scherf to this team, but I'm going to still talk about Will Hernandez, man. You watch the film on him, he can still move. And in this type of offense, I think he fits perfectly. He has good hands. He's physical. He has good feet. Yeah, Will Hernandez, man, I think people forgot about Hernandez.
Before we get to the timeline, this is not a tease. If I were to tell you, Bump, that Julio was a drastically better player on the road this year than he was at home, drastically better, would you have a theory?
Of course.
Okay, what's your theory? Including, you could have multiple theories.
It's easier to play at other ballparks than it is at T-Mobile.
Okay.
Hitter's eye, all that good stuff. And maybe there's less pressure when you're at home.
That was my theory.
Because you know what we need to stop? Julio.
Yeah,
stop that.
Stop it.
Let the young man go up there and try to figure this whole thing out, man. It was nice when he was hot and we're doing those chants or whatnot, but he's got to earn those chants. He's got to put together 2 or 3 series to where he looks like the guy from last year. It's not a knock on Julio, but I don't think the chants are helping him.
Yeah, I know that T-Mobile has the Julio thing that comes up, it'll be audience applause, but maybe at T-Mobile, we just kind of nix that for just a little while.
Chill.
And I know that it's within the culture of baseball, even when you're a kid, right? That's kids know still how to perform when you're cheering them
Mm-hmm.
on. Like, that's part of what you're doing. But I don't know, man. Okay, so here's this. Curtis, do you want to read your own splits? I have them up for you, but you found them.
Yeah, so I was looking at him this morning, just getting ready for extra innings, which airs from 7 to 9 p.m.
I wish he was just getting ready for work. I was looking up some Julio splits.
But at home this season, 207 batting average, 274 on base, 321 slug, good for a 594 OPS, 54 strikeouts, 4 home runs, and 184 at-bats. On the road, he has the exact same amount of at-bats. A 288 batting average, 338 on base, 457 slug, good for a 795 OPS. Strikeouts cut down dramatically to just 33 on the road and has 7 home runs. So numbers way up on the road compared to what they are at home.
I think that you're right in that the atmosphere, environment of T-Mobile as a pitcher's friendly park is absolutely playing a factor. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw splits with any of these players. However, I think you're also right in that pressure or an environment, a mindset at T-Mobile is playing into it, because that's 2 different players. That's that's not like, oh, he's hitting 250 at home and 265 on the road. These are 2 different players. If you showed me both of these slash lines, I'd be like, these are not the same player.
Those road numbers, the road numbers with his defensive numbers, that's an all-star.
Yes.
His home numbers with his defense, that's a bench player.
His road Julio would be one of the best players on this team.
For sure.
Yeah.
You're slugging 457. You got a 795 OPS. Like, solid player. That's fascinating. That's very interesting.
It is.
Okay. Taking a look around the timeline, coming your way next.
This summer, the Mariners take over Atlanta with the All-Star Fantastic Four.
Holy smokes!
Andres.
99 crackles over the corner.
Ryan
Wu has retired 13 Yankees in a row.
Julio
Rodriguez dives and he makes the catch.
And Cal.
Number 34 for the Big Dumper.
Congratulations to the Mariners All-Star 4 from the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
If you've been in a wreck or a fender bender,
you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility, not just where your insurance company tells you to go. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. With over 25 years of auto repair work, they'll exceed your expectations.
we meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
At Accurate Auto Body, all their work is performed by certified technicians, only using OEM parts to guarantee the safety of you and your family. For the best in auto body collision repair and customer service, give them a call at 425-883-2450 or AccurateAutoBodyWA.com. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
we meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
Between his hobbies and decades of work in a boatyard, Philip had put his body through a lot.
I'm an avid fly fisherman and an avid skier. It takes its toll.
Not to mention one other thing.
I had a near-fatal motorcycle accident. Absolutely obliterated my lower left leg again.
Philip couldn't live with the pain anymore, so he decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
Listening to all these radio spots, I said, what do I got to lose?
What was your experience like with Dr. Wagner?
What I was so impressed with Mark about is that how often you have a surgery like this, and the guy calls you the next day to see how you're doing. I can't say enough good things about the guy, honestly.
And how are you feeling now?
I have no pain, none. Zero.
Wow. So would you recommend stem cell therapy to others?
I'm a fan, believe me. I'd recommend it to anybody.
Before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
Values have to be within your leadership staff, right? And then that filters down into the rest of your staff.
We're together, we are a team, and without that thought process, you're sunk.
I still revert back to, if I work at a location and I'm willing to have my son work at this location, that should tell you a great deal. I didn't steer my son away, I steered my son to it.
They call it the Lee Johnson Auto family, and it's not just a name. It's not just some cliche. They foster an environment for us to become a family.
As much as I'd love to think that they trust me, yeah, our family name is trusted, but it's because of those individual interactions with our people that those folks have had over the years. That's where they build their trust with the relationship.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
You're free now. Free to stream beyond your wildest dreams.
Rom-coms, slasher-coms, space operas.
Free to fill your feed with impossibly chunky chunkers.
Cats, corgis, babies on demand.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things.
Bowl of chips on the Robo-Vacuum.
Free to open a world of remote work and Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com.
Limited availability, service in select locations only.
The home of the Mariners.
One hopper snare, that's short. Not a quick hop by J.P. Crawford.
That guy's a magician over there at shortstop.
Seattle Sports.
Download the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, Mike Salk here with some exciting news from a family-owned business that's local here in Western Washington. Yeah, we love to root for these guys. It's Riverside Roofing, and they've once again earned the prestigious GAF Master Elite President's Club. Well, that puts them in the 99.9th percentile of all roofers in the nation. So you might remember I've been talking about only 3% of roofing companies nationally qualify for GAF Master Elite status. But how many of those achieve President's Club? Well, that's only 2%. Truly the cream of the crop. Proudly from Marysville and serving homeowners all over Western Washington, Riverside Roofing is the roofing company you can trust. So what does that mean for you, the homeowner? Well, it means you're hiring the best. A company that gets high marks in performance, reliability, and service, plus an elite warranty to match. Highly reviewed and highly recommended, certainly by me. Riverside Roofing is your go-to local roofing contractor. Book them now and get that roof done fast. I highly recommend them. Go to riversideroofingllc.com. They are the roofing company you can trust.
Well, I'm sure by now you've heard interviews with a whole lot of people who took the First Mark Challenge and saved so much money on their insurance and got better coverage too. We call them First Mark victories. Well, I took the First Mark Challenge too, and I'm thrilled to say that First Mark is saving us thousands. Now, that's what I call a victory. You know, I was with the same agent for so long, I simply assumed they were working hard to get me the best coverage and save me money. But it wasn't the case, and you should find out too by taking the First Mark Insurance Challenge. First Mark works for you, not the insurance carriers. First Mark will fully analyze your current coverage, making sure you're not overpaying for the wrong coverage, which could leave you at risk for financial loss. Then they carefully search the market, dozens of major carriers to find you the best fit, and that's it. First Mark Insurance has helped thousands of families successfully manage the complicated world of insurance and save them thousands, me included. Be the next First Mark Challenge victory. Take the First Mark Challenge right now. It's totally free. Go to firstmarkinsurance.com. First Mark Insurance. They work for you.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
Well, if it isn't those cheating Astros again. At least that was the Dodgers theory. First story in the timeline, we're going to start taking a look around baseball. The Dodgers were swept over the weekend by the Astros. Bump, you were supposed to get the message to them.
That's right.
You were supposed to get the message to them that they were supposed to beat Houston and help Seattle here.
You know, I texted Ohtani.
Yeah.
He doesn't return texts
Texted
anymore.
Freddie.
Because, you know, Freddie, Mookie.
Exactly.
Mookie
Hit up
didn't make the
Mookie.
All-Star team.
That's a snub.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, hey, they got us. Bad, 18-1.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's go to that Friday loss. Friday was an 18-1, 2-1 victory by the Astros. But the LA broadcast team, at a certain point, wondered if Houston is up to no good again.
Hit hard to deep center field. Pages on the run. A Turner watch this one. Wedge itself in the bottom of the wall. And Cam Smith flying into second, anchoring there with another extra base hit for the Astros. Double homer double to open third against Casparius.
I don't want to open an old wound, but in some ways they're swinging at these breaking balls like they know what it's coming. That is not a bad pitch. It's really a very good pitch. Low and away. Probably would have ended up by the ankles if it would have made it past the bat. It's the other thing that you analyze. You analyze your grip, your delivery, your glove position on different pitches. Am I giving something away?
Well. You smell that? More home cooking by Houston. This is in LA, actually. Fireworks.
Yeah, in LA.
This is in LA.
They tripping, man. Just take the L. I
Yeah.
don't think the Astros are bold enough to try something like that again.
No.
And they know all eyes are on them. And they changed the game. They've literally changed the way or some aspects of the game. I don't think they have the stones, as Wyman would say, to try and pull something like that off again. Just take the L on the chin.
Yeah.
You're going to make the playoffs. Dodgers, don't trip. You'll be fine. Yeah, this is it sounds like some sort of loser stuff.
This one was a road game for Houston. If it was at Minute Maid, does Minute Maid have a new name now?
Oh, it does. Yeah, it's got a
Stupid
weird
train
name.
Stadium. If it was at their dumb train park, then I could understand it.
Daikin, Daikin.
Who cares?
What is that?
I'm not going to really
even
go
know.
to the ends of the earth to defend Houston. I will say I think the Dodgers are wrong here. I don't think Houston's up to funny business, but I will only go up to that because at a certain point Houston lost the benefit of the doubt, and it's like I can only defend you so much as to say I don't think they're cheating. But the reason people are questioning you is because you cheated.
Yeah, there's a reason for them to question.
Right.
Yeah, and you have to own that for the rest of your
Right.
existence.
So
it's going to be a
unfortunately
thing.
for you-
It's going to be a thing,
Yeah.
but I don't think they're cheating though.
Someone said Ohtani probably just didn't get your text. Not great cell service in the casino. Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's what it was.
Leave Ohtani alone.
Ohtani knew.
Next up, Oklahoma Sooners football GM Jim Nagy was a guest on Urban Meyer's podcast, and Meyer, unsurprisingly, doesn't sound like a guy who would want that job.
I don't know if I even told Rob and Mark this, but I had a school come see me this year and asked if I wanted to be the GM and a couple other phone calls. And you start to think, okay, they actually came to see me. And so I said, yeah, we'll meet and I'll sit down with you guys. And I said, okay, what is the job description? They said, well, basically you handle all the, you meet with all the agents of the 17, 18-year-olds. And I thought, I'd rather step on a rusty nail and pull it out I mean, what in the, but if that's what you got to do, Jim, God bless you, brother.
Urban Meyer wants nothing to do with college football as it is today.
At the GM spot, I would do that. I think it's easier than being a coach, going to have to recruit these guys or whatnot and deal with them on a day-to-day basis. And in other sports, 17, 18-year-olds have agents all the time. NHL, they have agents. MLB, they have agents. Soccer, they have agents. He's just an old man, grumpy old man who doesn't like the way that college football is. And I can get that because even though Urban Meyer does not have the greatest reputation, his influence on football has been crazy. Like, I've read a few of his books. Like, he's changed the game. So when you have that type of influence, like an Urban Meyer, like a Mike Leach, a Nick Saban, what Clemson coach, why am I forgetting his name right now? Dabo Sweeney.
Dabo.
Like, yeah, you're going to be stuck in your ways because you're one of the big dogs in this game. But being a college GM, that sounds kind of fun to me, honestly.
Yes. Us being of a different era and people younger than us being of a massively different era, I think can just see it fundamentally differently. It is interesting thinking back to Urban's tenure, very short tenure with the Jags, wherein I think the reason he kind of struggled is because the relationship he had with players through college was like, I'm the boss. I get the final say. You don't have power. You don't have a say here. And you get to where players are making more money than you, or some of your players are. And there's a completely different voice that players have. There's a players union that's going to be pushing back against you. You're speaking to adult men, grown men who are making millions of dollars, not little 18-year-olds trying not to lose the spot on the team that are going to say yes sir, no sir for everything. It's not that players and the pros won't say that, but like that's what he really clearly struggled with. I'm not at all surprised that Urban Meyer is looking at college football as it is now going, what happened to these kids that were terrified of me?
Yeah. Nah, don't work that way. Yeah, because that's how he operated.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly how he operated.
Yeah. Next up, ESPN's Jesse Rogers compiled some of the most interesting trade deadline stories GMs have told him over the years. A really cool read for ESPN.com. Two had huge butterfly effects on the Seattle Mariners. The first one involved Felix, a potential trade to the Brewers. Jesse wrote, before joining the Giants in 2018, is it Zach Manasian?
Manasian. Yeah.
Manasian, exactly what I said. Spent 14 years with the Brewers. During one of his seasons under Doug Melvin, they thought they had a deal for one of the game's top pitchers. They were deep in conversations with the Mariners, who had Jack Sorenzik serving as GM at the time, obviously a former Brewers executive. So basically, they thought at one point, like, we've agreed to a trade with Felix, or for Felix. So for about an hour, We thought we were getting Felix, the article says. We were nervous, anxious, excited, and just waiting. Pause to think about the potential effect this would have had.
Felix going to the Milwaukee Brewers?
Ooh, yeah.
Gross.
There was like a real world where the Brewers at one point were like convinced that like this deal's done. We've got him.
Man, the emotional roller coaster they must have been on during that whole situation. Because it changes the way you look at your rotation, your team, the potential, and all that good stuff. Yeah, that didn't seem very nice.
Yeah, I don't
Doesn't seem very nice.
Somebody tried to figure out which year it was that this trade might have gone down.
Yeah, prior to 2018.
They said they think it was 2011 when this trade could have gone down, because I believe it was the next season, 2012.
Does Felix ever have a perfect game?
Right. Well, and I think Felix signed his extension, was it 2012 with the Mariners? I want to say it was that time. And looking at like who the Brewers had in their farm system, it was nothing good. Nothing that turned out to be good. Maybe
Sounds like
back
Felix
then
isn't making the playoffs either way.
Yeah, probably not.
Next story involves Jerry DiPoto's acquisition of Matt Brash in 2020. This was during the shortened 2020 season, working for the Mariners. DiPoto was. Again, Padres on the other end of the phone. San Diego had a really good team, and they were looking for specific help. DiPoto said they were trying to fortify, and they needed a catcher. We had Austin Nola, who was going bananas for us that short season. He was hitting .306 with a 151 OPS plus. He said, the Padres, we were in full rebuild mode, but we didn't have much interest in moving him simply because it was a tough position to fill, and he's a great makeup guy, but Preller would not take no for an answer. He threw out a slew of names and said, we will overpay. AJ's that way. So in return, the Mariners received 4 players, including Ty France, but then it was a second later trade that year with San Diego that DiPoto liked even more. The Padres wanted reliever Taylor Williams. They said they had a guy on their farm system who'd thrown 1 inning as a minor leaguer after being drafted the previous year. Then COVID hit. It was Matt Brash. We were so close to the deadline, I heard AJ cut the phone and yell, Brash, to one of his assistants. Then he gets back on and says, we'll do it. He said, Jerry, it's the only deal I've ever done without seeing the medicals. Imagine that one being like working out for you as well, where you're like, I love these like butterfly effect stories of like thinking back to the Padres in that moment going, this guy? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you know what?
We'll get rid of him.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Unfortunately, the Mariners have been on the bad side of some of those butterfly effect deals.
The Brash one worked out well for them, though.
Really well, yeah.
Right.
So tip of the cap there, but they've also made some ones that we'd probably like back. Maybe one will come back. Eugenio Suarez, you going to be a Mariner?
Come on.
That'd be pretty cool.
Come on home.
ESPN ranked the league's top 10 running backs. Does it matter that the Seahawks don't have one? That's next.
This summer, the Mariners take over Atlanta with the All-Star Fantastic Four.
Holy smokes!
Andres.
99 crackles over the corner.
Ryan
Wu has retired 13 Yankees in a row. Julio Rodriguez dives and he makes the catch.
And Cal.
Number 34 for the big dumper.
Congratulations to the Mariners All-Star Four. From the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Do you have a car you want to sell, but you just don't want to go through all the hassle? I don't blame you. With all the scams and security risks out there, more and more people just aren't comfortable selling their own car. So what do you do if you want to get the most money for your car without selling it yourself? Stacy here with the answer. It's Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Not only will they purchase your used car and pay you right up front for it, but once they resell your old car, they share half their profit with you. The question I get most from friends is, well, what's the catch? But there isn't one. Here's how it works. This program means Wayscar Ford saves money by not traveling to buy cars at auction, which means not paying purchase fees, shipping fees, and travel expenses. Now they can just share that saved money with you, their customer, rather than outside vendors. It's a win-win. They encourage you to shop around, but look, if Wayscar Ford can pay you the same or more as competitors and share half their profit with you once they resell your car, why would you go anywhere else? They've already shared over $800,000 with their customers. It's only at Wayscar Ford in Auburn, wayscarford.com.
Planning a road trip? Plan a visit to your neighborhood Bucky's Complete Auto Repair for oil changes, brakes, AC repair, and factory maintenance. No appointment needed, and yes, friendly financing is available. Visit buckys.com.
Tyrese live at Muckleshoot Event Center, Sunday, July 13th, 8 p.m. You've seen him on the screen. You've heard him on the radio. Now see him live for an unforgettable night. Get tickets before they sell out at muckleshootcasino.com. Tyrese, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com.
Need a new roof now? With State Roofing and Exteriors, you can get started with zero down, zero payments, and zero interest for up to 24 months. That's right. Protect your home now and pay later. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today.
Do you know a woman who gives her all to the sports community, encourages diversity, and empowers those around her? Stacy Rost here. Seattle Sports is partnering with the Seattle chapter of WISE, which stands for Women in Sports and Events. We want to recognize a woman in our community, and we need your help finding her. Nominations for the 4th annual Women of Inspiration Award are open until July 11th. The winner will receive a donation to the cause of their choice. Nominate an inspiring woman today at woiseattle.org. That's woiseattle.org.
The home of the Mariners.
It is gone! Cal Raleigh, 2-run home run!
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here from my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Hey, everybody, it's Bob Stelton here. Let me tell you about one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. That's when I went to K2 Vision for refractive lens exchange. Now, if you're somebody like me who struggled with distance vision, maybe you always need a pair of reading glasses, K2 Vision RLE could be your perfect permanent solution like it was for me. And here's the cherry on top. You'll never develop a cataract. K2 Vision RLE is quick, painless, and I am seeing great now without glasses or readers. I can actually read restaurant menus. I can read the receipts when they show up. I can read texts on my phone. It's amazing. RLE is an absolute game changer. I'm so excited to spend my good active years not needing reading glasses. K2 Vision RLE gave me great vision that's permanent. The doctors at K2 Vision have performed over 150,000 lens procedures, so they know when RLE is right for you. Schedule your free Zoom consultation today at K2VisionRLE.com. K2 Vision RLE, no readers, glasses, contacts, or cataracts. K2VisionRLE.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All All right, so Jeremy Fowler, who puts out his rankings per position every single year, has his newest out. It was published this morning for ESPN, where executives, coaches, and scouts rank the NFL's top 10 at each position. Running backs were out today. It will not surprise you, Saquon Barkley, number 1 on this list, Derrick Henry, number 2. Following that, you've got guys that I have no issue with seeing in the top 10. Would you take any of these guys, for instance, and say, like, he doesn't belong in the top 10? You've got Jahmyr Gibbs for the Lions, Bijan Robinson, and, like, forget just ranking. You might have some higher or lower, but top 10. Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, Joe Mixon, and Alvin Kamara rounds out the top 10.
No, that's a solid 10. I think big ups for them getting Kamara in because he was in a tough situation last year with the Saints. We all know how valuable he is.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that I would argue to get in the top 10, which is maybe Bucky Irving. I think he had himself a great season last year, 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 8 big run plays as well. But no, I think if there is a position that is the easiest to rank, this might be one of them with the running back spot because it's such a raw position. And it's straight production. Like, just look at the numbers. You can make cases for linebackers who have 150 tackles not being in the top 10 because it's where they're getting their tackles, or a corner who doesn't have a lot of interceptions, but he's a lockdown type of corner. With running back, man, it's all production. And they got this thing right. The only one, maybe Bucky Irving. I'm sure Aaron Jones is feeling some type of way about it as well. He had 1,100 yards, but no, they got this one right. I like that Gibbs was so high too, because I think that he brings a lot to this Lions team.
Yeah, and there was a world where people thought the Lions completely whiffed on that pick, and they were like, this guy's going to be a bust. So good for him. Irving and Jones, both honorable mentions. Devon Achane and Breece Hall, along with James Conner, also in there. Now, you guys did not hear Kenneth Walker. He was listed among those also receiving votes. A couple other familiar names in there as well, including David Montgomery for the Lions, who had a great season. So there are players that had great years or were part of really important run games that did not make it to the top 10, and that's okay. Here's the thing. Here's my...
Hold on. I do have a problem with one.
Yeah.
I do, actually. Kyron Williams needs to be in the top 10. Kyron Williams running back over Joe Mixon. Kyron Williams needs to be in there. 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns. Mixon... 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns. Comparable, but Kyron Williams needs some respect on his name.
1,300 yards from scrimmage in each of the past 4 seasons for Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
Says the scouts. Not a bad. I'm not pushing back too much.
No, I mean, I'm okay with Joe being in there.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to take somebody out and put Kyron Williams in, it's going to be him.
Bump Kamara up to 9.
Yeah.
Okay. You and I don't disagree with this list. We would have pretty much the same top 10 there, give or take a guy at 9 or 10. But overall, I don't think either of us would put Ken Walker III on this list over the other names that are ahead of him.
Nah.
Is it a problem for Seattle that they don't have either Zach Charbonnet or Ken Walker on this list, considering that their stated goal this offseason is we want to run the ball? We know who we want to be. They want to be a team that runs the ball. Is it a problem if you don't have a running back in the top 10 here?
No, because the reason why Kenneth Walker isn't in the top 10 is he didn't play. You know, he played 12 games last year, and he struggled a bit. I think he has big play potential every time he touches the football. With Zach Charbonnet, he's more of like your just blue-collar type of running back. He has a 30-yard run in him, maybe a 40-yard run in him, but his game is just downhill. It's not extremely explosive. It's not really shifty. It's just, I'm going to do what the play requires me to do, and I'm going to run hard. He plays hard. He runs hard. But when it comes to the extra sauce that some of these guys have, that's just not Zach Charbonnet's game. And for this offense, like I would prefer that. Let me rephrase that. I would love for Kenneth Walker to have 1,200 yards, 10 to 12 touchdowns, but that means he's touching the ball a lot. If he could have 800 to 900, Charbonnet could have 500 to 700. I'd be good with that because you're saving these running backs, because we know that as soon as they hit a certain age, a certain amount of carries, their body's just going to break down. But I think that you don't necessarily need a top running back to be good in the run game.
Someone said a bottom 5 O-line probably means bottom 10 running back. And while I hear what you're saying, 206, I will add that Alvin Kamara did not play behind a good offensive line. Joe Mixon played behind a struggling Houston Texans offensive line. There are guys on here who played on teams. Jonathan Taylor for Indianapolis, just an overall team was bad, and there wasn't the threat of a quarterback to like take pressure off of him. You just have to perform. Is the problem with Seattle their offensive line? Was it the running back talent? Was it a coordinator? Because there are running backs on here who outperformed the team on which they were on.
Yeah, no, it's style. And I really think that if Ken Walker can adjust his style a little bit and give these runs a bit more time to develop, you can make things happen, man. A running back can make an O-line look better than what they really are because there's things running backs can do to set up their blocks. And there's some things that are just out of their control. If the guard is trying to get to the backer and just whiffs and the backers are sitting there getting after the running back, you're going to have a tough time. But there's angle and there's patience that can help your offensive line. Like if you are just getting to the gap so quickly and not allowing the double team to create for you, the chances are you're not going to have success. If you are not giving the run a chance and you're looking for the cutback, there's opportunity that you're not going to have that type of success. So, yeah, having a bottom 5 offensive line is definitely not going to help, but there are things running backs can do to set up the blocks and make life easier for these offensive linemen.
I guess the hope is that by season's end, Ken Walker sees a bump there. Maybe Zach Charbonnet sees a bump. Do you think, I know it's a lot to project, but have you seen enough from Clint Kubiak, from his offense, or from these running backs to think, look, you have no reason why you can't throw yourself into the run and see a boost?
Yeah, I think that's there's an opportunity. The hardest thing for Ken Walker is just staying healthy. He's been pretty banged up the last couple of years. There can be an uptick, but it's just flow, man. It's flow. And they got to all get on the same page.
It's a good way to look at it, though. Like, there's so much to some of these rankings. Like, Saquon Barkley is going to be great on a team no matter what, but we have the benefit of seeing him on a very bad team with a bad coordinator behind a bad offensive line versus with a great offense behind a great offensive line. He's clearly talented no matter where he is and overcomes a certain amount of issues, but at a certain point, that offensive coordinator comes into play, that scheme comes into play, the offensive line and the way they're coached comes into play, and maybe that was clearly a big problem for Seattle.
I don't even like mentioning Saquon when it comes to any other running back. Like Saquon,
he should be in his own
Henry,
category.
They're like, all right, man, these two are just different, and they can make things happen, and Gibbs is approaching that.
Sticking with the Seahawks, ESPN's Brady Henderson joins us next.
This summer, the Mariners take over Atlanta with the All-Star Fantastic Four.
Holy smokes!
Andres.
99 crackles over the corner. Ryan Wu has retired 13 Yankees in a row. Julio Rodriguez dives and he makes the catch.
And Cal.
Number 34 for the big dumper.
Congratulations to the Mariners All-Star 4. From the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Have you considered surgery or even joint replacement? Hey, it's Dave Wyman, and before you make that decision, see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Why? Because he gives it to you straight. Dr. Wagner said my right knee needs replacement, and I appreciate his honesty and expertise. My left knee is fine right now, but the minute it isn't, I'm heading to Dr. Wagner for his expert opinion. I want to avoid another surgery, and I've heard so many patients rave about results from their 90-minute outpatient stem cell procedure with Dr. Wagner. He's a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience and has performed more than 20,000 stem cell procedures using a person's own stem cells to regenerate cartilage in their own joints. People with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone, are back doing what they enjoy without pain and without surgery. Whether it's a shoulder, hip, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
Are you worried about economic conditions, tariffs, and inflation? Are you tired of trying to time the stock market? Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given current market volatility. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Hi, I'm Scott Rurucka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years with zero investor losses, averaging double-digit returns since inception, and we also accept tax-exempt IRAs. Over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our legacy family of funds. Feeling uneasy? Don't gamble your hard-earned money or risk your retirement. Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, returning 9%, has limited openings for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you bought that TV in a parking lot. It just happened to not come in a box or include a remote. And when you finally managed to turn it on, all it displayed was the menu of Grumpy's Tacos. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Hey, that's the spirit. Right now, we're celebrating free with a free STP oil filter when you buy 5 quarts of oil and free Duralast brake pads when you buy 2 rotors. Like always, free battery testing, charging, and recycling at every store. Celebrate free at AutoZone, now through July 28th.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Can't fix everything for everybody, but you can be there and listen and try to help with what you can. You're there to support them, and that's the best that you can do.
Justin Meek. He's the leader and caretaker of the 380 people who consider Lee Johnson their home.
This is my life. This is my family's life. The people that work here, they're my family. When something's not right with them, it's not right with us. My wife and 3 kids in the house, there's always something wrong with somebody at all times. And if there isn't, then something's wrong. When you have 388 employees, there's never a day that everything is good everywhere. You have to be okay with that. You have to look at that as opportunities to gain a better relationship with people and help them through what they're going through.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners swept the Pirates over the weekend. More than that, they had 3 straight shutout wins over Pittsburgh. It's the first time in franchise history the club has pitched 3 straight shutouts. Off day today, extra innings coming your way at 7 p.m. on Seattle Sports with the latest Mariners news and a preview for their next series. Then it's on to New York.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. ESPN's Brady Henderson joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline, talking Seahawks. Brady, how's it going?
It's going well. I'm back from vacation and gearing up for training camp. How's it going with you guys?
Good. Were you overseas? How was vacation?
I was in the UK on a golf trip for about a week and a half. We were in England and Scotland, so we played 4 of the courses in the British Open rotation and a few others. And, yeah, it was a great time.
Bump's just nodding silently
Nice.
with his eyes closed.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to rub it in, Bump, but it was a great time. Wish you were there.
Yeah, I'm sure he does
Me too.
I'm going to start by looking at offense for Seattle. Brady, we've spent a lot of our time with guests that we've had on talking about all the potential of the Seahawks defense. I do want to get to that. They do have a new addition, maybe an old addition that we can talk about. But I wanted to start with the offense. That's really where a lot of the questions lie for Seattle. The biggest one for a lot of people is going to be not whether or not Sam Darnold can necessarily throw 35 touchdowns again, but whether or not he can still play really well behind an offensive line that's faced a lot of question marks. What do you think about the protection Seattle has around Darnold right now?
I think the whole thing, yeah. I mean, it all fits into kind of this bigger question mark, as I see it, of, we kind of tend to look at the pass protection, or we look at, the ability for the Seahawks to avoid their quarterback getting sacked a ton. We tend to only look at that as an offensive line issue, and obviously the guys blocking for him play a huge role in that. But I think, the reason that the Seahawks are confident that, the whole Darnold thing is going to work behind that offensive line is, A, they are higher on, the offensive linemen that they have than I think a lot of other people are on the outside, but they also feel like the scheme itself is going to help a lot. And this is an offense that I think in their eyes is going to set the quarterback up to be protected better than, than Ryan Grubb's scheme did, with all of the shotgun, simply all of the passing that Ryan Grubb did. That was, they were one of the more pass-happy offenses in the NFL, at least over the first half of the season. But then they did a lot of that at a shotgun. There wasn't a lot of quarterback movement outside of the pocket. And, that's really where the Kubiak scheme comes in, because it's a more under-center offense. Ideally, it's going to be a lot more balanced than what they were last year. And, among other things, they really get the quarterback on the move to kind of make him a moving target for pass rushers. And so, and then Darnold, the other part of that is Darnold really had to do his part. And that's kind of, that was, one of the Achilles heels of his late last season when he, had the kind of disastrous finish to what was an otherwise brilliant Pro Bowl season, as he took quite a few sacks in that last game. And, that was kind of a product of him holding on to the ball too long, at least in some of those cases, not necessarily all of them, but that has kind of been a problem of his over his career. If you look at where he ranks, I can't remember the exact ranking, but, the numbers would suggest, just based on, his average time before throw, that he's a quarterback who tends to hold on to the ball. And so that is kind of the third piece of that is, the offensive line has to do its part, the scheme has to do its part, but the quarterback has to hold up his end of the bargain as well.
Hey, Brady, it's the unknown that kind of worries people when it comes to the Seahawks, right? You mentioned all those things. Can the O-line protect? Can Sam Darnold get rid of the football? Can Kubiak's scheme kind of help this offense out? What if it doesn't work out? Do you think that Mike McDonald is going to be patient with this offense and give it another go? Obviously, there's an out with Sam Darnold his second year. Just what's worst case scenario with this ball club, and how do you think it all pans out?
Yeah, that's a good question because, they obviously have a quarterback that they like in Drew Lock. And I think, for all of the focus that's been on Jalen Milroe, I think if push came to shove and if there was the doomsday scenario where Sam Darnold is really struggling and they get to a point where they feel like they have to make a change midseason, I'm pretty sure that would be Drew Lock as opposed to Sam Darnold. There was even kind of a line in a story that Mike Silver wrote recently where it almost seemed to imply that Locke was a guy that they actually would have considered at some point as a potential pivot to Geno in terms of a potential starter. At least that was the way that I read it in there. So we know that John Schneider has always had, kind of this affinity for Drew Lock. And I think Lock is a lot better quarterback than what he showed, in his fill-in starts last year in New York, which was obviously just that's a kind of troubled organization and a really, that was kind of a kind of just a chaotic year for them. So I wouldn't judge Drew Lock solely off of that. He's, he certainly hasn't shown to be an above average starter, but he's shown to be a capable starter, I would say. And, but look, this is all down the road. They signed they signed Sam Darnold with the idea that, not necessarily the confidence that he was going to be the guy long term, and the contract kind of backs that up. That as they do with veteran contracts, they gave themselves a potential out after one season. So that's not necessarily a 3-year commitment. It's really a 1-year commitment, and then they'll reevaluate after year one. But they do obviously have a good amount of confidence in Sam Darnold, and I think it would have to be disastrously bad in order for them, I think, to consider pulling the plug midseason.
The NFL is releasing their top 100 players of 2025. Leonard Williams made the list at 99.
Oh, Stacy, no. Do not get me started on. Oh my goodness.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
go
No,
ahead.
let's go. What's with the reaction?
Okay. You knew a rant was coming, and a rant is coming. And
yes.
So this is how ridiculous I think the NFL's top 100 is. I've been in the Seahawks locker room when they pass out these ballots, and if I remember correctly, it was a big sheet of paper that has 1 to 25, and I kind of got the sense that players fill these out with the same level of enthusiasm that you fill out, that when you're on a phone call with customer service and they say, hang on the line for 1 minute and answer, a
survey.
brief 3-question survey. Yeah, I don't think players take this all that seriously. I think that they vote for their friends. And look, it's a 1 to 25. So that means the guys that, ended up 99, that means someone voted them as one of the 25 best players in the NFL. Obviously, if you end up at 99, you're not one of the 25 best players in the NFL. You're one of the top 100, but it goes to show, and I'm not doing a very good job of expressing it, but it goes to show, in my opinion, how ridiculously unscientific that whole voting process is. I think
very
I think
arbitrary.
Better, yeah. If you're going to pay attention to a list this time of the year, pay attention to the one that my guy Jeremy Fowler is doing, because it's not Jeremy voting on it. It's Jeremy polling people around the NFL, executives, coaches, even some players, and it's top 10 by position. So it's a much more scientific, much more I think reliable list. But the NFL top 100. I go on this rant every year, either on the air or to people I know. It's just absurd.
Is exactly what I wanted. I'm doing my job. Well, let's go ahead and get to Jeremy Fowler's lists. Last year, every single time these would come out with different position groups, we always had fun with it, but we did notice a common thread, which was very, very, very few, if any, Seahawks ever making the list. And so the conversation we would naturally have is like, okay, does it matter if, in this case, scouts, executives, people who actually know football don't see one of your players as being a top 10 at his position? And last year we all settled on, well, they weren't in the playoffs, brand new head coach. They can maybe prove it this year. Brady, I don't know how many Seahawks are going to be making those lists this year. How do you view the Seahawks in terms of the overall talent level they're at right now?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, if you go down the list, position by position, we already know that Ken Walker or Zach Charbonnet didn't make the top 10 of the running back list. So if you just go position by position, who's going to make that list? I think Devin Witherspoon was on it last year. I can't imagine he's not going to be on it this year after another Pro Bowl season. So Devin Witherspoon is going to be one of those guys. I doubt that Sam Darnold will be, as great of a player as Jackson Smith and Jigba is. That, there's obviously a lot of very good wide receivers in the NFL, so he may have a hard time cracking the top 10. I don't know if there's another player on the team that is, unless I'm missing somebody. DK Metcalf would have been the other guy who would have a chance, but he's obviously no longer there. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Ernest Jones might be, one of those guys, but then again, the contract that he signed, I think that kind of reflected what his market would have been had he gone to free agency. So that gives me some pause in predicting that he would be in the top 10, as good of a player as he is. I mean, he still might get it, but yeah, to your point, there's not a whole lot of guys, if you just try to project it, that seem like shoo-ins for that top 10 other than Devin Witherspoon. And so I think it speaks to kind of the same thing as last year, that yeah, you're not the 49ers. You're not one of those teams that has, top 10 guys at every position. But I think everybody, whether you follow the Seahawks or whether you root for them or not, I think you would still say that, yeah, that's a pretty good roster that should very well be competing for an NFC West title. And so I think it just speaks to the idea that, they're kind of more middle heavy as opposed to top heavy. And their strength is really the fact that they've got, solid to good players at every position. And, the depth seems pretty good. And so, yeah, I think that is kind of an interesting question, though, of, can you still compete at the highest level without the same level of star caliber players that other teams do. But, all the same, we've still been talking about this team as, a team that should win 10 or 11 games and should compete with, a much more top-heavy 49ers roster in the NFC West. So it is interesting. Obviously, you want star players, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like the Seahawks have as many of those as some other teams are going to.
I think one of the reasons I'm optimistic is because of the coaching as well. You mentioned they don't have maybe top 10 players, but where do you think Mike McDonald stands in the league, or maybe the division if you want to narrow it down, the conference, when it comes to just his ability to lead this ball team?
Yeah, in terms of defensive minds, I mean, I don't know why, the book on Mike McDonald and the reason they hired him, last year was because he's known as one of the, most brilliant defensive minds in football. And I don't think anything that you saw last season would change anyone's opinion on that. Obviously, they stumbled out of the gates, as I think a lot of teams do when they're switching schemes and, bringing in a whole new leadership. And so, but you saw, how good that defense was at the end of last season. I think they finished 9th as a defense in points allowed, and they really shored things up against the run after some personnel changes. And I think after, the players just got comfortable with the scheme. And so, I think Mike McDonald, that is another piece of the talent issue, is that, talent is one aspect of it and coaching is another. And, they've got the head coach. I think we'll see about the offensive coordinator. I totally understand why they hired Clint Kubiak. They took a huge swing on Ryan Grubb, a guy who was unproven at the NFL level, ran a college scheme that was obviously very successful in college, but completely unproven in the NFL. And it was a huge leap of faith. And I think there was, when they hired Clint Kubiak, I don't think it was a coincidence that he sort of fell on the opposite end of that spectrum as a guy who's been in the NFL for a long time. He's not an old guy, but he's been in the NFL for quite a while. Obviously, his dad was coached and played in the NFL. He runs one of the more proven schemes in the NFL, his version of the Kyle Shanahan system. And so, I think there's a lot of questions about Kubiak, but certainly you can't question just kind of the background and the level to which he and the scheme are established at this level.
What did you hear when you reached out to colleagues when Kubiak was hired? Was it overall positive?
Yeah, it was, one person who has kind of covered him in the past told me about how he's, very much comes off as kind of a low-key guy, and you do hear that. I mean, he's a soft-spoken guy, and I think that might lead some people to wonder about, okay, what kind of fire does this guy have? But, I watched him closely enough during the practices that we got to see, and you see fire there. I mean, I saw him light some guys up, and that's, again, the beauty. I've mentioned this before, but that's the beauty of Mike McDonald practices compared to Pete Carroll practices, is the music isn't blaring, so you can really hear kind of some of the coaching and the conversation.
Do you remember why he was lighting a guy up?
I don't know if it was a guy or if it was a position group, but it was something about the wide receivers and something about the backup wide receivers who, I don't know, seemed like they weren't playing up to snuff, and he let him hear about it. And so, I think one of the interesting aspects of the Kubiak hire to me is obviously they wanted somebody who was going to run the ball. I think as much as Kubiak has been billed as a run-heavy guy, I mean, the numbers don't necessarily show that. I mean, I think he's been kind of middle of the pack. So it's, I think in an ideal world, they would hire, this guy who has a ton of NFL experience, runs a proven scheme, and also is, in the top whatever of, rushing percentage and rushing success. Maybe you just can't have everything because he's two of those three things, but, he's kind of been middle of the pack in terms of, rushing percentage. And I think, in some cases, at least in that stint in Denver, when he was calling plays for them. I know last season in New Orleans, maybe things get a little skewed there just because of all the injuries that they had. But, they were also cycling through quarterbacks, and you would think that would cause the team to lean more heavily on the run. And it didn't necessarily happen. Not to say that he's a pass-happy guy like Ryan Grubb by any means, but, I think there is still something of a question of how much he's going to run the ball, just because some of the numbers aren't quite as run-heavy as you would think, just based on what you feel like they are looking for.
He is ESPN's Brady Henderson. Thanks, Brady. We appreciate it. Glad to have you back from vacation.
Thanks, Big.
All right. Good to be back. Thanks for having me on. See you guys.
See ya. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one, the Nationals have fired manager Davey Martinez and GM Mike Rizzo just 3 weeks after Martinez said Washington's failures are, quote, never on coaching. What's the real headline?
Unfortunately for Davey, it would appear the Nationals ownership did very much blame the coaches.
They got a couple balls over there. They got Wood. That's a baller. They got a young staff over there as well. Someone has to take the blame. And when the guys upstairs think there's some talent on the baseball field and they're not performing, they're going to blame the coaches. I think coaches hold some responsibility. So do players, though, right? You got to be receptive to the coaching. You got to go out there and execute. But sometimes you just need a different voice, and that's what it sounds like here.
Once you don't take the fall for your players, don't you at that point kind of punt on the clubhouse? Like, if I'm a player and you go in front of reporters and say it's all on me, coaches are innocent, blame us, you can't go out there and swing for me. Like, at a certain point, you feel like you're supposed to have my back. Like, you're supposed to say, you're supposed to cover for us. Like, if I get into an argument with an ump, you're supposed to come out and, like, get in his face. Like, there's just there's the burden of a manager where when things aren't his fault, he still takes blame. I'd be so turned off if I was
both
a player.
ways. The managers take blame, then the players take blame. It's like you guys both cover up for each other. Yeah, it's dysfunctional over there.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number two, the Mariners had 4 players named to the American League All-Star team, including Julio, who received his 3rd All-Star nod. What's the real headline?
If you're mad at anyone that's been named to this list, be mad at players. Julio got in with that player vote.
Yeah, man. It is what it is. Some guys have a reputation, and the players respect that reputation.
Can I rewind and just ask you, should a Mariners fan be mad that Julio is an All-Star?
Nah, you shouldn't be mad. You could laugh at it and be like, can't believe he got in, but he's on your team. He's your squad. You support the team, so you support Julio no matter what. So, no. Was he worthy of being an All-Star? In my eyes, probably not. But I'm not the one who went out there and voted and got him in.
Yeah.
So blame them.
I do think people undervalue defense. I think Julio needs to do more at the plate. It's really frustrating watching him come in these moments where he could be clutch and drive in runners. Isn't he second among all players in runners stranded?
Yeah, just behind Anthony Volpe.
Which is just really unfortunate. Like, you need to be better. However, I will give him credit for his defense this year, which has been phenomenal. And in general, I think defense is undervalued by folks in baseball sometimes.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3, we're so back. Joey Chestnut won his 16th Nathan's hot dog eating contest after a year away with 70.5 in just 10 minutes. What's the real headline?
He also set the record for bathroom trips later that day.
Bet he did. That's it's a lot of substance that you have to get rid of, and it doesn't just sit there. You have to get it out. So, Joey, you know what I looked up? His how much he makes a year. How much do you think he makes a year?
So it's all got to be prize money, right?
It's prize
I guess
money,
like endorsements.
Yeah.
$1 million.
Nah, 500,000.
Oh, okay.
That's still pretty good money.
Yeah. I thought it was gonna be around like maybe $100,000 or something like that.
Oh, no
500,000. Man, he's doing good for himself.
I'm surprised it's not more. Like, I'm surprised that there aren't like ballpark dog kind of companies that are like, we're just gonna have you be the face of this company.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Although the thing is, when it comes to hot dogs and buns, just anything like that, like those things that don't really need advertisements, you already know what brand
I know
you're
what hot
gonna get.
dogs are all about.
Yeah, it's like you don't really need to sell me on this. I know exactly what we're grilling for the 4th of July, and I know what brands I'm gonna get.
That's true. When's the last time you saw a hot dog commercial?
I almost said in the 90s when they
Oscar
had the
Mayer
hot dog,
used to
but that
have
was Nintendo, I think. It's been a minute. You know what you don't see commercials for? Like fruits and vegetables. Because why would there be a
No, you
commercial? There's
don't.
not like a specific brand,
yeah.
right? What else do you not see commercials for at all? You see it for Kleenex. You see it for things that you'll buy no matter what. Paper towels, a lot of cleaning commercials all the time, peanut butter commercials.
You know what's a company that has never spent a single dollar on advertising? Sriracha. They've never advertised anywhere, and yet it's like one of the highest selling hot sauces out there.
I've never seen that.
Wow.
I've never
You're
seen
right. They got a chokehold on the market.
Yeah.
Dang. I'm just like blown away by that.
Because then you think back, it's like, no, I've never seen their ad in print. I've never heard a TV jingle for them.
No, like what's the big like hot dog and burger company? Is it not Heinz?
That's ketchup.
No. The bread company. What am I thinking of?
Ballpark?
No.
Franz?
Franz Bakery, yeah.
Never seen a commercial for Franz.
They've
but
got
it's
that
everywhere.
big billboard down in Soto.
Oh, you drive by their building, smells like
so
bread.
good.
Oh, it's incredible.
A couple people texting in saying, let's see, all-star appearances in any sport should not be used to evaluate a player's greatness or lack thereof.
I don't know. I think it's a good measure.
Yeah, I mean, you're not just. He's not an all-star. Julio's not an all-star because he's a bad player. You're an all-star because people recognize your talents.
Well, and I would say multi-all-star and multi-Pro Bowl players, you can't be a bum and just fall backwards into like 5 Pro Bowls. Like that's just simply not going to happen.
Yeah.
There are going to be times when your reputation gets you there more so than your play that season. Or like you're going to the game because someone else can't. But for the most part, I get what people complain about when they're popularity contests, but for the most part, you've got to at least be relevant to the conversation. Like you can't, you're going to get snubs, but you're going to get fewer people who have zero case whatsoever to be made.
Well, no disrespect to Williamson, but he doesn't just hop into an all-star game. You got to put together some seasons. And then people are like, oh, now you get benefit of the doubt because they've seen you do it a few times.
Yeah, I think I get that there are other accolades that you'd prefer a player have, right? Like there are certain awards that would fundamentally mean more, but I wouldn't just poo-poo all-star nods.
I think when you look back at the end of his career and there's 5 or 6 all-star games in there, you're not going to be like, oh, but that one in 2025 didn't really mean anything. Like it just, as far as the accolades go, when you look back on it, you don't really dig into the stats for each year and stuff like that.
All right, we are going to take a look around the NFL, and then we'll get back to a really interesting comp for Julio coming up at 12:45. Don't go anywhere.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
The one, the only Tim Kirkchin is with us. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm just as confused as you are about the Mariners, if they're going to get really good or not.
Is it hard to understand where their needs truly are as we approach that trade deadline?
This team is due for a great stretch of great starting pitching. If they can score a few runs, maybe they can really make a playoff berth in the American League.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Hey, what's up? It's Michael Bumpus for Silver Reef Casino. Man, it's really close. You get on I-5, you go north, you get off on exit 260, and you are there. It's a great place to get away and to recharge. I did it myself. They have great, comfortable, spacious rooms with free Wi-Fi. They also have some restaurants downstairs. They got the steakhouse, the cantina, and more. Plus, you want to watch some sports, go to Porter's Bay Sports Bar. That's what I did. And it's time to golf. Loomis Trails Golf Course, 18 holes, with water almost everywhere. You must be patient. Just go out there, relax, and have some fun. And this month, you can win $10,000 every Saturday with a grand prize of $50,000. Also, you got Neil McCoy coming through on the 26th. Man, you book your tickets at silverreefcasino.com. I went there. It was great. Silver Reef Casino, it's not a secret anymore.
Need a new roof but not in the budget? A new roof doesn't have to break the bank. Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors here. Right now, State Roofing and Exteriors is offering 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's 2 years with no payments while getting the protection your home deserves. But this offer won't last forever. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to get on our summer schedule now. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Hi, it's me, Flo, here to tell you that with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, you get 24/7 protection, so you're covered no matter where the day takes you.
Even bad hair day?
Yep.
And tree branch fell on my car day?
Especially that day. Progressive has you covered 24/7 for your home and auto.
How about thought it was chicken, but it was tuna day? Or overnight construction outside my bedroom day?
Those days too.
Great, because that was each day this week.
Been there. Well, at least your home and auto are covered every day with Progressive.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
The home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Cal swinging a drive, deep to right field.
Every pitch of every Mariners game is on the Seattle Sports app.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business, powering possibilities.
Now through July 21st, new Comcast Business customers can find out how to get started with 150 megabit internet and Security Edge for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how you get a $500 prepaid card for your business. Call and switch to Comcast Business today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Early termination fee applies.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Are the Commanders in trouble of losing one of their best weapons? ESPN's Adam Schefter reports there's still a big gap between the Washington Commanders and wide receiver Terry McLaurin on a new deal.
There's no update, which is the update. And that's the problem. The problem is, with this particular situation, Terry McLaurin is going to argue that we've seen other wide receivers who his numbers are comparable to, like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and DK Metcalf, get paid over $30 million a year this offseason. And I think the Commanders then can say yes, but Mike Evans, who also has had comparable numbers, is at $24 million. So there really is quite a difference and a gap between what both sides would want. They have not made any progress. I would think that we'll see if there are any teams that decide to come snooping around Terry McLaurin to see if they could try to pry loose Terry McLaurin, who, by the way, I cannot envision the Commanders moving on from, no matter how disgruntled he may be.
So, again, things pretty far apart still between Terry McLaurin and the Commanders. The Commanders were, I forget where they ranked, but you were for a while ago, a couple weeks back for 4 Down Territory, looking at the top wide receiver units in the league, and the Commanders were up there. Obviously, this drastically affects their offense if they can't get something done.
Yeah, and Terry needs his money. He's done it with a lot of different quarterbacks over there. We all know how unstable it is. You got Jamar Chase making $40 million, Jefferson 35, CD 34, DK fourth at $33 million. He should be around $30 million. Brandon Ayuk, he's been your most reliable offensive weapon there for the past, 5 seasons, 5 1,000-yard seasons in a row. He's supposed to get his money. He's 29, about to be 30 here pretty soon. This is his last opportunity to try to really cash in and get a big bag. He's got to stand his ground, man. So it's an unfortunate situation. The Commanders, just get it done. You need him. Without him, this offense looks different.
I think that there's, in general, a couple people that fall under that category of, if you're not the very best definitively, a team isn't quite sure what to do. But without you, that team is in a bad spot. For instance, Trey Hendrickson for the Cincinnati Bengals, maybe he's looking to be the top paid edge rusher in football. Maybe he is. And if you're the Bengals, you might be going, honestly, we'd rather have Myles Garrett, or we'd rather have a young Jared Verse, or we'd rather have someone else in here that was either faster or younger or cheaper or better. But you have this guy, and without him, you're nothing. That's kind of maybe a good way to look at the Terry McLaurin situation of it's about what that person means for you. And right now, Terry McLaurin, he's not definitively the number 1 wide receiver in the game. He's your number 1 wide receiver.
And that should
matter for something.
I just read a list of who's out there. You want to rely on Keenan Allen, who's older, Amari Cooper, who's older. This is your guy. You got to take care of him.
Next story. Travis Kelce says teams will wear out Travis Hunter when he's playing on defense.
Both sides? See, that's the thing. I don't know how they're going to divvy it out. I don't know if because teams are going to be going after him.
Right. And
they're going to try and make his day. Yeah, they're going to try and make his day miserable.
Right. And he's got to go play wide receiver and then turn around and basically be like high school where you just stand on the field the whole time.
Yeah.
And just wait for the game to be over.
Dude, if he plays corner, they're going to run deep balls at him all day. They're going to run the wide receivers, just take off on him all day just to try and get him tired.
Yeah.
I'm like, why wouldn't you just attack him that way?
That was on Bussin' with the Boys, and a really good point by Kelce that I hadn't really considered. I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about Travis Hunter once he was drafted. I was like, onward. We're talking about the Seahawks draft picks, but he's right. You just almost target making it to where he's exhausted as opposed to, always taking advantage of matchups.
Here's the thing. He's not going to play every single down on both sides of the ball. And you could run deep routes at him constantly, but there's something called down and distance in situational football to where, that's not going to be required or necessary. You're still trying to win ball games. You're not going to go out and say, our job is to get him as tired as we possibly can. No, there are some times you can do it. He's on the backside of a route or whatnot. You run a go or a post. But when it comes down to a 3rd and 2, you're going to run the best play that's for your offense. He's going to get tired regardless because this is not college football. And even him, what he did in college was still remarkable, impressive. I was never in that type of shape to be able to play over 100-something snaps a game every single week. It's going to be different in the NFL. So they'll sprinkle him in, and I still think that he'll be a better DB than wide receiver.
Do you think that he'll spend quite a bit of time, that being said? Will we see something that feels like we're in awe of his workload?
No, I think that the Jags are going to give the people what they want to see, at least to start. No one expects them to win the division. Maybe they could win the division. Who knows? But you got to go out there and get the people what they want. What they want to see early, they want to see Travis Hunter on both sides of the ball. But then as the season progresses, you start to figure out what situations is he better at. Is he grasping this playbook better than that playbook? Then you start to just respond to what the football player is giving you. But initially, yeah, it's going to be the Travis Hunter show. He's on both sides of the ball.
ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum has a surprise pick for the quarterback under the most pressure this season.
I think the quarterback under the most pressure by far, in my opinion, is Caleb Williams. I can't remember the last time an organization did more for a quarterback than go get Ben Johnson, Colston Loveland, Luther Burton, Ozzie Trujillo, Drew Dahlman. I mean, the list is on and on and on. Juxtapose that the player they passed on in Jaden Daniels, guys, is an absolute superstar. So, you know, I understand it's getting late in Miami, but boy, I think there's a ton of pressure on Caleb Williams.
There are a lot of choices, and feel free to say if your answer is Caleb, but which quarterback is under the most pressure this year in the NFL?
It's not Caleb to me, but I understand this argument because he's set up for success, but this is still his second year in the NFL.
He's not in danger of losing his job.
No, if this was years 7, 8, 9, and you know he had been through some stuff already, maybe we can talk about that. But no, honestly, I think it's Brock Purdy because he just got his bag, and people don't believe that he's as good as $50 million a year. And you know, can he keep the 49ers relevant? It's a different kind of pressure too, because you know if they don't win this year, Brock Purdy is still going to be fine. Yeah. Shanahan loves him, but because of the money that he got and the way he's perceived when it comes to his abilities, I think Brock Purdy is under some pressure.
Okay, so looking back at the 2024 starting quarterbacks, I think just eliminating any of last year's rookies, not only was it a really exceptional class, but they're all high first-round picks, so they're just not going anywhere, right? Like, yeah, there's pressure on J.J. McCarthy because they moved on from some backup options at quarterback. Okay. Yeah. What are they going to do if he doesn't perform this year? Cut him and go find someone else? No, I agree with you. I think all the rookies can be taken off the board. What about a guy like Sam Darnold that has essentially a one-year deal with Seattle? He can be cut after this season without dire financial consequences for the Seahawks, and I don't know if after a bad year he gets another chance at being a franchise guy.
I think there's less pressure on Sam Darnold than we think because most people don't think he's going to duplicate what he did last year. It's more of, I told you so.
I like the take.
Yeah.
So people are kind of expecting he'll fail and will be more surprised by a successful season than they will be a bad season. That's good. Earlier, you chose Trevor Lawrence as being under quite a bit of pressure. Yeah. What about guys that fall into, hey, this team could move on? Kyler Murray, Trevor Lawrence, Tua Tagovailoa.
Tua all day.
Right? Guys that, like, their teams could pivot, theoretically. Yeah. They won't. Like, they're not going to move on from Trevor, but, like, the team could theoretically start to mentally prepare for life after this.
You know who should be preparing, but they're not going to do it because they pay him too much, is Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott.
No.
Like, he's going to win regular season games,
they're not moving on.
But he costs too much. You're already so deep in investment with him. But in reality, if he were just a guy getting paid $40-45 million a year, he'd be under a lot of pressure this year because you win during the regular season, but at playoff time, it's just no good.
Did you say Anthony Richardson?
I didn't say Anthony Richardson.
Him and Daniel Jones in a weird spot where...
This is what I think.
Yes.
Anthony Richardson is a bust. It ain't going to happen.
I hate that.
It isn't. You know what? You know what's jacked up? I'm going to be one of those guys. Maybe you want to play receiver or something or tight end. He's not. He ain't got
Anthony Richardson to run the ball.
He ain't got it. He ain't got it, man. Super talented, but you still got to read defenses and execute and all that. I don't think Anthony Richardson, he's going to be a bust, man.
DK Metcalf, Julio Rodriguez, and the plight of potential. That's coming up next.
This summer, the Mariners take over Atlanta with the All-Star Fantastic Four.
Holy smokes!
Andres.
99 crackles over the corner.
Ryan
Wu has retired 13 Yankees in a row. Julio Rodriguez dives and he makes the catch.
And Cal.
Number 34 for the big dumper.
Congratulations to the Mariners All-Star 4. From the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Summer is the time to feel and look your best, but I'm not talking about your abs or tan. Guys, I'm talking about your hair. Restore that bald spot, reverse your receding hairline, or add volume to thinning during Advanced Hair's once yearly summer savings event. Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment begins to regrow your very own hair the very next day, and they guarantee your new hair will grow. They are the team that addressed my hair loss, and I recommend them to everyone. Take advantage of your flexible summer calendar and get the most hair for your dollar. Advanced Hair's summer sales event is on for a limited time. So get the details and schedule your free consultation today. 425-449-8185. One-day treatment, life-changing results. With Advanced Hair, your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Check out the incredible before and afters and make the call now while their summer savings event is still on. That's 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rureka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen, and PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Do you know a woman that gives her all to the sports community, encourages diversity, and empowers those around her? Maura Dooley here. Seattle Sports is partnering with the Seattle chapter of WISE, which stands for Women in Sports and Events. We want to recognize a woman in our community, and we need your help finding her. Nominations for the 4th Annual Women of Inspiration Award are open until July 11th. The winner will receive a donation to the cause of their choice. Nominate an inspiring woman at woiseattle.org.
The home of the Mariners.
Left off to center. It is on its way. Julio, 2-run home run.
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Well, this week's First Mark Challenge victory is a little different. We actually reach out to the small business world, to Joel Taylor and Sean O'Donnell from Sean O'Donnell's Restaurants. Sean, when Joel brought this to you, the idea of why don't we take this First Mark Challenge victory, what was your thought?
My goal was to save some money and to simplify our operations. We've got 6 locations now, and along with that comes complications. And when things get complicated, things that are important get forgotten. First Mark was able to simplify that and also save us money.
Not only have they saved us money, they helped us identify some blind spots in our policies. Their service team has been phenomenal, unparalleled in my experience, given us a lot more solutions with better coverage, and just made too much sense.
First Mark's just made it easy for us.
So if you're a business owner and your insurance is in need of simplifying and streamlining and eliminate the stress, do what Sean O'Donnell's Restaurants did. Reach out to First Mark Insurance. Just go to firstmarkinsurance.com. First Mark Insurance, your teammate in the business world too. Going to work for you.
Jake was suffering from osteoarthritis when his doctors asked him to consider surgery.
However, there's a 9-month recovery period where essentially you're not walking and you're not putting
much in the way of weight on.
That wasn't going to work for him, so he decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
I heard the ads, and that caused me to do due diligence.
And how are you doing now?
There's not really any pain now at all. I have no limitations in what I want to do.
Wow, so you're able to do anything you want to do?
I recently played golf at Cycle House down in Pebble Beach, walked 18 holes, which I hadn't been able to do for a number of years, and then went for about a 2-mile walk with my friend.
I take it you'd recommend stem cell therapy to others then?
Absolutely. Had I known then what I know now, I would have done this several years ago and saved myself a lot of pain and suffering and agony and limitation to activity.
Before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Seattle Times columnist Mike Vorel joined us at 11 a.m. to talk about, initially we had questions about Cal, but eventually about Julio. He made a really interesting comparison, comparing our perception and expectation when it comes to overall athleticism, comparing Julio to DK Metcalf.
I think there's a lot in the comparison between Julio and DK Metcalf in terms of the guy who just seemingly has every physical advantage in the book. And I think people become frustrated with those guys because they see what they can be. They see all the physical tools. And when you have all this potential, and it seems like maybe to some people that you're not realizing all of it, that can become deeply frustrating.
I love this take because I think it's 1,000% true. I think that is accurate. I think people look at DK Metcalf and they see a guy where it's like, you could be Calvin Johnson. Now, in reality, and Bump, you know this, not only being a former player, but just watching a lot of film, it's a lot more complicated than just Calvin Johnson was bigger, stronger, and faster than everyone. Like, there is a real skill and a feel for the game and instinct and route running, all that stuff that you have to have. But I think that some of the frustration that came from fans when it came to DK or when it comes to Julio is looking at someone with all the tools in the world and wondering why they aren't a perennial all-pro or all-star.
Yeah, and then they've shown you that they're capable too.
Right.
I mean, DK was all-team second all-pro, I believe, one year.
Yeah, it's not like they came up and immediately were like, they couldn't meet expectations.
He had 1,300 yards one season, 10 touchdowns, 12 the next, and has 3 1,000-yard seasons. So with Julio, as you see him be a 30-30 guy, you saw him be a rookie of the year. You've seen him be an MVP candidate for a short amount of the season, like a couple years ago in the summer or something like that. Anyway, they've shown you enough to you're like, if you just take one more step forward, you could be something special. That's what's frustrating. And because us regular people walking around aren't like 6'2", 6'3",
can I just
200-something pounds.
I think there's like quietly a bit of like a psychological element to this that's, I don't want to say envy or jealousy, but it's almost like a, what are you doing? That makes no sense to me. If I had your weapons, I would surely have the drive and the desire to do this. Like, I do think there's a little bit of that going on in some people's minds.
And that's not reality though, man. Like, I see big guys walking around all the time and look good, work out in gyms and stuff, and then I see them run and they just can't move. Like, that's not... so just because you have that doesn't mean you have size, doesn't mean like you automatically are going to have success. There are things that make up your mental and your movements and stuff that you just can't control. But it's worse when you feel like you're being teased a bit. And I think that's what it feels like people feel with Julio. It's like you tease us a bit. Like, you had all this potential. And here's another thing too, man, is that people come in and they say, well, they shouldn't have paid Julio all that money when they did. When Julio got paid, I didn't hear none of that. Everyone's excited. You locked him down for 10 years. He's going to be good to go. He has potential to make $400 million. And I think that that was a smart thing to do. Because imagine, like, on the flip side, imagine if they waited to pay Cal. Cal will cost so much more money now than the 100-something million that
Cal's
he got.
probably wishing they waited to pay Cal.
Exactly. So it's all a gamble.
Yeah.
You have to take what they give you in that moment and hope that it continues. And it ain't over for Julio yet, though. We're talking as if there's no way Julio just has the burst of production that we've seen before, and he plays well. We also can't ignore what we've seen the past, 23 at-bats, 2 hits or something like that. Like, it ain't good.
No.
It's not good. So it's This sports stuff is this complicated.
I'm glad you mentioned his first 2 years. That's what's so frustrating about Julio is it doesn't feel like he got hurt. It doesn't feel like he got old. It feels like he changed something. I don't know if it's mental, like an approach, if it's a tiny, thing with your swing.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like something self-imposed that's limited so much potential. Ian, were you going to say something?
Yeah, is there anything to these guys in particular front-loading their success? Like when Julio first came up and was just smacking it everywhere.
Like wowed us early.
Exactly. And like in my head, when I think of like iconic DK moments, I think about that Eagles night game at the end of his rookie year where everybody was like, where did this guy kind of come from?
The Jim Schwartz game?
They just set the expectations so high that like it's really hard to live up to that over a long career, even when you have all of these like God-given tools and talents.
Yeah, maybe bump to Ian's point, part of it was people going, well, what if DK does become maybe not Calvin Johnson 2.0, but what if he does become a receiver the Seahawks have never had before? And I mean no slight to Steve Largent, but I mean like that big-bodied not Randy Moss, but like that big-bodied dude, right? Like they hadn't had that kind of threat that really took off. What if Julio is the second coming of Griffey? Like I think there's a lot of hope with either of those.
Yeah, people get paid off of potential, right? You've shown us enough to make us think that you can take us to a different place. And then you add it helps when you're 6'2" or something like that. And you can, especially in baseball, when you're a big body and you are producing the way you're producing in such a skilled sport, you're like, man, the power numbers can be crazy with this person. Stolen bases defensively and all that. And Julio's checked some boxes. Defensively, he's on point. Stealing bases, he's been pretty good. But it's a gamble. It's a risk. And it's rare that you get a Ken Griffey Jr. It's rare that you get a Michael Jordan. It's rare that you get the top 3% of the athletes that everyone knows and talks about. There are guys getting paid who will never reach that. Right? But they bring something to the table, and they had success early enough in their career to where the organization said, all right, let's gamble and hope that he develops.
I feel like both athletes, Julio and DK, also bring out misplaced anger and frustration. And I think part of that is from the disappointment of feeling, to your point, like someone could be great if they just, and then it'll be something in their own control. Like maybe you think it's work ethic or something that they've adjusted about their approach, whatever it is. But it feels like because they're so athletically blessed that surely it must be something they're doing to stop themselves. But it is interesting that both became so polarizing to the point where I thought some of the anger didn't make sense to me. Like, why are you mad about Julio? I'm frustrated watching his at-bats, but I don't root against him or hate him. I never got like the anger with DK or like the weird resentment that people had. It just felt misplaced.
Yeah, especially because that one person is not going to win your World Series or a Super Bowl. Like that, DK could have 1,500 yards in a season and still not win a Super Bowl. Julio could have 45 bombs in a season and you can still not win a World Series championship because it takes more than just that. But people get frustrated because you want to see at least what you thought was your centerpiece perform like it.
Yeah. Joe in Bellevue, Julio's expectations were there before he made it to the majors. A really good point, and the thing that kind of separates them is hype about players is always going to start when they're prospects, as opposed to just like when DK came out, yeah, he was great at Ole Miss, but he wasn't ranked as the #1 receiver in the nation.
No.
He just kind of like, we thought this is too good to be true. Surely he won't be, like there were knocks on his route running. You remember, like you covered that draft. Like I'm sure that there were things that like you remember people worrying, and then it was more of like oh my God, they actually did it. They actually took him, and he ended up meeting the hype and expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And baseball's funny too, man. Prospects get gassed up so much. I never, in any other sport, baseball, we hear about 20 guys every single year. They're going to be the next this or have so much potential. And it's just so hard to have a sustained high-level amount of success, especially in baseball. It's rare that guys just kind of live up to expectations throughout their whole career. I mean, Kelenich's supposed to be better than Julio. Kelenic was supposed to be the guy. And I don't know where's he at. He's still with the Braves, or is he done?
Atlanta's AAA.
AAA.
Barely hitting 200.
I feel like sometimes we set guys up for failure. Like as an athlete, you should be able to deal with pressure. You know, like when people are like, stop talking about them. It's like, look, they are media trained. Like guys know how to, or should at this level know how to ignore the noise. But I think sometimes we do create like a mold of what they should fit into as a player. And when they don't, it's seen as underwhelming instead of us adjusting. Well, what should this player be good at instead? What if Julio's never going to be a big power guy, but can make certainly more contact?
Yeah. And what if they didn't pay him $200 million?
Can we also stop talking about it like it's, not that you're doing this, but to people that do, as though it's like a salary cap where paying Julio means they can't pay someone else?
Yeah.
Okay, so you paid Julio. First of all, it's not like a top 10 contract in baseball. And secondly, there is no salary cap. It doesn't mean that you can't pay someone else because you paid Julio.
Yeah.
Work on fixing Julio's swing. I don't know. Someone who knows more about baseball can tell me more about that. But we're sticking with football here. 2 NFL insiders are feeling optimistic about the Seahawks' chances. That's coming up next.
ESPN senior MLB insider Jeff Passett with Brock and Salk.
I'm leaning a little bit more into that Bregman train.
I think there's a question of could versus should versus would. Could they? Sure. Should they? Absolutely. Would they? We get back to the same question that we do every offseason. Would the Mariners go out and spend real money on a guy? Up to this point, they have not shown a willingness to do that.
Get more on the Seattle Sports YouTube page and the Seattle Sports app.
It is that time of year. I cannot wait for the weather to get warm like it is now on consecutive days. That means I can break the motorcycle out, ride to work, ride all over the place, and I love it more than just about anything. But I also know that it's not a matter of if, but when you get in an accident, what are you going to do? Well, I'll tell you, when you're injured in a motorcycle crash, don't settle for firms that say they're motorcycle lawyers. Trust the ones who live it. Law Tigers has been a part of the writing community for nearly 25 years nationwide. They're here 24/7, 365 days a year because writers deserve real support when they need it. Law Tigers is the resource writers can turn to when they are in need. Law Tigers is out at all the events and supporting all clubs and shops. The Law Tigers are always by your side. Your case evaluation is always free. There are no fees until your case settles. The Law Tigers, you never ride alone. Law Tigers, Washington's motorcycle lawyers. Jimmy Cook, 539 Broadway, Unit 104, Tacoma, Washington, 98402.
Summer is here and Washington Energy's BOGO 40% off sale is on now. Update and enhance your home with beautiful new windows and doors expertly installed by Washington Energy Services. Save today with one of our best deals of the year. Buy one energy efficient window, get the second at 40% off. And BOGO 40% off all entry, patio, and interior doors right now. From traditional to modern home updates and with over 65 years of award-winning installations, Washington Energy is the clear choice. Call today for a free estimate.
When it comes to the security of your business, doubts can creep in about who you're trusting to protect it. At Bail Alarm, we got you. For nearly 80 years, we've been putting our customers' minds at ease with our advanced technology and personalized support. Feeling insecure about your current security service? Visit bailalarm.com today.
Old windows cost you money and security. Lake Washington Windows and Doors installs energy-efficient, high-security windows that lower your bills and increase protection. With leak armor installation and lifetime warranties, you're protected for life. Choose LakeWashingtonWindows.com today.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Hey, that's the spirit. Right now, we're celebrating free with a free STP oil filter when you buy 5 quarts of oil and free Duralast brake pads when you buy 2 rotors. Like always, free battery testing, charging, and recycling at every store. Celebrate free at AutoZone, now through July 28th.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Do you have a car you'd like to sell but don't want to go through all the hassle? With all the scams and security risks out there, more and more people are uncomfortable selling their own car. So how do you get the most money for your used car without selling it yourself? Stacy here with the answer. Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Not only will they purchase your car and pay you right up front for it, but it gets way better. Once they resell your old car, they share half the profit with you. The question I get most from my friends and colleagues is, what's the catch? And how can they offer this? It's super simple. All the money they save by not traveling to buy cars at auctions, like purchase fees, shipping, and travel expenses, is what allows them to offer this. They'd rather share that money they save with you than outside vendors. They encourage you to shop around, but if Wayscar Ford can pay you the same or more as their competitors and then share half their profit with you once they resell your car, why would you sell your car anywhere else? They've already shared over $800,000 with customers, and it's only at Wayscar Ford. That's wayscarford.com, Wayscar Ford in Auburn.
The countdown is on.
16 days until Seahawks training camp.
On the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports. 710 KIRO AM Seattle and KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners swept the Pirates over the weekend. More than that, they had 3 straight shutout wins over Pittsburgh. That's the first time in franchise history the club has pitched 3 straight shutouts. Off day today, extra innings comes your way at 7 p.m. hosted by Curtis Rogers right here on Seattle Sports. The latest Mariners news, analysis, and a preview for this upcoming series against the Yankees. That one begins tomorrow. First pitch at 4:10 p.m.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy.
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Bump, I'd like for the Seahawks to play very well in 2025. It would make our jobs easier. It would make our days shorter.
Turn your mic on, Bump.
You know, it would just be nice to have a team that's playing really well. Unfortunately for us, a lot of the folks that we've spoken with are like, on the Seahawks. Like, I don't think we've talked to a single person that's like, they're going to be fourth, they're going to be awful. I have no faith in this team. I think people are just in wait and see mode with the Seahawks and see quite a few other teams in the NFC they have more faith in. Fine. What are you going to do? Right? All you can do is go out and play.
Right.
There are, though, 2 NFL insiders who are feeling optimistic about the Seahawks' chances in 2025. We've got sound here from MMQB's Albert Breer and Connor Orr. First from Connor.
I'm very high on this team. I think that they had, maybe not arguably.
This is a sneaky good division, huh?
It's a sneaky good division. I think that the Seahawks had my favorite draft. I loved Gray Zabel. I loved Jalen Milroe. And I think that both of them are going to factor in. And then they also took the kid from South Carolina that I think is going to really help their defense and diversify their defense. I mean, this team is really good. I think for me, the optimistic realistic is that you match last year's win total, that you get at least 10 wins. I think that you want to just find out on Darnold. And I think that you want to build some stability with that offensive staff.
How much stock do you put into a draft class? Because Connor's right. They had one of the most highly praised drafts of any team heading out of May. But how much do you actually look to rookies to make an impact?
Depends on what position we're talking about, right? Okay. If we're talking about MOI, I think rookies can make the biggest impact always on defense because there's less. It's less complicated on defense. You're reacting and you can be just a raw athlete and go and make plays. I think offensively it's tough to ask a rookie to kind of save you, unless you're talking about a quarterback. And every now and then we have rookie quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels last year, who just elevate your team. It's tough. You never want to depend on rookies unless you're talking about a quarterback saving your life, saving the day, or you're talking about defensive guys. But we're seeing rookie receivers come in and do their thing as well. I might have just talked myself out of that.
You know what I
just
think
talked myself
part
out
of
of
it
that.
is, though, is when I've interviewed players, they've all said the same as you do, which is like, so I wonder if it's a mentality that's more often than not been true that's changing in more
Maybe.
recent classes?
Because we've seen, because I remember when
more
DK,
pro-ready offenses.
yeah, when DK came into the league, people were saying he's going to need time, 2 or 3 years, and we'll see what's going on. Now, man, we've seen Jamar Chase at the scene running, Malik Neighbors at the scene running, Justin Jefferson at the White House, but I think receivers are developing more and more.
Bucky Irving, who we just talked
Bucky
about
Irving,
in the running back list. Yeah.
So I think they can make an impact, but you don't want to depend on them. You're always going to need that veteran offensive lineman, veteran linebacker to come in and really mentor and give you that final push. But rookies can make impacts, man. We've seen that over the past few years.
Connor looks at the other side of things and said they're also going to be facing some inexperienced quarterbacks this year.
You're likely going to face a rookie quarterback in week 3 with the Saints. You're likely going to face a year 2 quarterback in Jaden Daniels right after your bye. You're going to face Cam Ward in week 12. You're going to face J.J. McCarthy in week 13. You're going to face Michael Penix in week 14. And you may face like Anthony Richardson, let's say in week 15. In those games, you need to completely dress your opponent down and you need to win those games because that's why Mike McDonald was hired. He was hired with the promise that this defense would be nasty, it would be amoebic, and it would go toe-to-toe with some of the best offenses in the NFL. I'm not expecting you to sweep San Francisco. I'm not expecting you to sweep the Rams. But when you're facing a quarterback who has had less than 2 years of experience in the NFL, you should be able to win those games. I mean, Bill Belichick used to torture rookie quarterbacks.
2 great points there from Connor. The first being about the actual competition they're facing. Not only are you playing some weaker divisions as part of your schedule this year, but some young quarterbacks. The second really important point that I liked is the overall thing about Mike McDonald. This is why you were hired. This schedule, these quarterbacks, this is where you're supposed to shine.
You got an old Aaron Rodgers you're facing. I think Baker Mayfield's scary.
I think Baker Mayfield's great.
Yeah. You got Trevor Lawrence, who needs to prove what he's doing. Jaden Daniels needs to show that he can bounce back. Obviously, Kyler Murray a couple times. Cam Ward, go Cougs. You got him as well. Michael Penix. I'm low-key liking his line. I know they're not like superstar quarterbacks, but it's interesting. It's interesting, these quarterbacks are going to get. Bryce Young, can he build off of what he did last year? You should be able to get after most of these quarterbacks. The only quarterback that I see on this list, J.J. McCarthy, that strikes a little bit of fear is you got to respect Brock Purdy. I know I just talked about how he's got something to prove getting his $50 million. Obviously, you got Sam Darnold. It's more in your division is where the better quarterbacks are going to be. And then you got Baker Mayfield as well. Who knows what quarterback is going to be starting for the Indianapolis Colts. That's a great point. This schedule is built for you just to cause mass confusion and chaos and get after these young quarterbacks.
Well, and where the better play callers are going to be. Like, look, Sean McVay's had Seattle's number. Previously, it was Pete Carroll. We'll see if it's Mike McDonald. Kyle Shanahan is one of the best play callers in the game, period. Another reason that those are 2 really tough teams for you to face. I'm not saying that some of these other young quarterbacks and their young play callers aren't great or haven't been there before. Cliff Kingsbury obviously has been a head coach, currently a play caller for the Washington Commanders and Jaden McDaniels. But you got to earn it, and you got to earn the fear. And there's no reason why an experienced Seahawks defense who's returning all of their starters can't go in there and continue to build on what they were doing. Let's take a listen to Albert Breer, who's also pretty high on the Seahawks.
I know a lot of people are going to compare him to Cam Chancellor because it's Seattle, but I think that there's, at least the way that the Seahawks see it, there's a lot of Kyle Hamilton. To what Mike McDonald's getting there, and that he's going to be able to use him that way. And you look at Byron Murphy, I think could wind up being a really good player in year 2. And could he be the disruptive force you want in your front? DeMarcus Lawrence is going to come in with a hair across his ass. You got Boye Mafe still. You got Uchenna Nwosu. It's even at spots where they're not overwhelmingly strong, they've got good depth and they've got competent players, and you can win that way.
I don't know what it means either, Bob.
Hair across his ass?
Someone will have to tell us. Maybe it's an older saying. I don't understand.
I'm old as heck.
What do you mean you're old?
I'm old because I haven't been using AI the way I should be using AI. And I
you gotta
just
get on
downloaded ChatGPT, and we be talking all the time.
Wasn't there not just, though, a study that shows that, like, heavy usage of ChatGPT can lower your critical thinking skills?
Yeah, I'm past that.
No surprise there.
I'm past that. I'm 40.
I don't need to
You know,
develop them
kids,
anymore.
keep
I need
developing.
to undevelop them.
Me, make it simple for me. Make life simple.
Okay, you figure out what that means, and then I'll get back to paraphrasing, obviously, what Albert Breer said, which was beginning, if you couldn't tell, with some comments on Nicky Minwari and saying, look, I know that people outside of Seattle may not be able to list every single defensive lineman or outside backer that Seattle has, but there are enough guys there to make an impact as a collective, that there are enough pieces that add depth to this defense. It's not like you have one superstar that everyone's looking to and then massive question marks behind him. You've got not a ton of superstars, but just lots of good contributors.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Hair across his ass.
Okay.
Is an informal and crude expression used to describe someone who is suddenly irritable, angry, or acting irrationally for no obvious reason. So saying
But why?
he's about to get active, like he's just...
But what's the hair?
I don't-
Like a hair off your head?
Sure. It's across his butt. Hair across his butt. That's like some old 1800s saying.
Yeah. That sounds like someone that's going to have, like, some slurs we've never heard of.
Some slurs.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like, just for all kinds of, like, a slur for just, you know, I don't even know, left-handed people. Like, they're going deep.
They're going deep. Where's that come from? That's interesting.
I need to know more. Okay, I'm going to keep Googling, and I'm going to play this next cut. Also from Albert Breer.
Like, I love some of the frontline guys. Like, I think Witherspoon is a stud. JSN, capably became their number one receiver last year. Charles Cross is the best left tackle in football that no one talks about. So I like their core. I like their balance. I like their depth. Like, I think that they're, again, if those four positions, the interior, offensive line, and quarterback, are taken care of, it can be like a 10-win team.
So, again, the Seahawks have a good core. They're well balanced. They have depth. If you answer these two big questions we all have, which is, can the offensive line protect Sam Darnold? And if he's protected, can Sam Darnold look like last year? Then they could be a 10-win team. No reason they can't be.
Man, there's a lot that needs to happen. There's
Really?
there's just the unknown. The offense is just so unknown. Kubiak, I watched Kubiak's film and it makes sense to me, right? Then you look at the numbers, the injuries, that there's going to be an argument that says we don't know if Kubiak can do this. I look at the offensive line and the additions that they brought over with Gray Zabel and then the guys from last year, and I look at them in this offense and say, I think they can do it. I look at Sam Darnold. We've only seen 1 year out of him where he played at a high level. And I think, I think maybe he can get it done. You lose DK Metcalf. DK's gone. Tyler's gone. Like, something that was so familiar to this organization. Both of those guys are gone. Yeah, Jason's the guy. I think he can be a number one guy. He's shown that he can do it. Cooper Kupp, everyone thinks he's banged up. He's over the hill. There's just so many unknowns with this offense that the defense better take care of them quarterbacks.
I agree that there are a lot of unknowns with the offense. I agree that the defense is clearly the strength. But I do think it all simplifies and boils down to the offensive line. Like, if I were to tell you, Bump, hey, the defense is going to be great. Defense is going to be what you think they are. And if all I told you was, hey, by season's end, this Seahawks offensive line, they're going to be top 12. What record would you guess they have?
Gucci, they'll get 10 wins. With
See,
a top 12.
it all boils down to the offensive line, because ultimately, you look at the backfield.
And Sam, is he going to see ghosts?
But I'm
scared.
But do you think Sam Darnold will really struggle behind a top 12 offensive line, top 15
I think there's a
offensive
chance
line?
he does. We've only seen him do it one time.
No, I agree with you.
I'm hoping that he does it, but and here's the thing too about Sam. Like, people didn't like Geno and how aggressive he was at times, how he was his emotions kind of got out on the football field. But I think a lot of guys respect that either way in football.
Yeah.
You have to put yourself out there like that. And Sam is just so different from what we're used to, even from Russell Wilson. Like, you can say Russell Wilson, whatever you want about him, but he's gonna get in front of the mic. He's gonna talk football. He's gonna project this confidence.
Still has a
Even if it's
personality.
false, even if it's false and he shouldn't have that confidence, he's still gonna do it. And Geno's the same way. there's just so much I don't know about Sam. I feel like I've been able to dissect Geno and Russell for so long that I can almost tell you what they're going to say. I believe in them in the clutch. With Sam, it's like I just don't know enough about him.
Does he feel like a blank slate?
It feels, yeah, and it feels like this is the least charismatic quarterback that we've had, and maybe it's a good thing. If everyone I talk to with the Seahawks, they love him in the locker room. They love him on the football field, but because he's so different than what we're used to, and we've only seen it once, it's natural for everyone to sit there and question if he can do it again. And that makes me nervous. And offensive line issues. Like Geno worked behind an offensive line that was really bad, and so did Russell. And why did it work for Russell? Because his mobility, he can buy time, he throw the football. With Geno, he can stand in the pocket when chaos is going down and deliver a dart. I just don't know how Sam overcomes that, because it's not like the offense is going to come out and just be rolling the first few weeks. I assume there's going to be some hiccups. I assume that they're going to shuffle the offensive line and try to figure some things out. And that makes me concerned for Sam. If Sam were coming out behind a great offensive line, I'd have more confidence and be like, I think he can do it. But because so many things have to go right with his offense, it just makes me question. I really have to wait and see how this goes on. But I think he's capable. That's the thing. I think he is capable, but I've only seen it once.
I don't disagree. I think you look at Sam Darnold and you see someone who is surprisingly mobile and has a really big arm, and can make a ton of throws, and that's great.
He's a pro.
I think what you're waiting to see is, who does someone become when things fall apart? And like you, I tend to have a little more faith in players who are really confident or really bold.
Mm-hmm.
You say what you will about Geno's red zone interceptions. They were awful. They cost this team wins at times. Agree 100%. Geno also made a lot of throws that more timid quarterbacks wouldn't make that ended up converting, not just third downs, but ended up getting touchdowns. Like, he is a bold thrower of the football.
But you see it in their personality. Even with Russell.
Yeah.
Like, you don't make those plays if there ain't that what you're talking about in your personality. Not saying it's not in Sam. I just have had only 4 or 5 practices of being around him. So I need to know when it's going down, what's it like in a huddle too? Because as football players, man, we get in that huddle, man, and if that quarterback ain't confident, he'll call a play, and we'll look at each other like, man, we're screwed, man.
Yeah.
You ain't stand no chance.
Someone said aggressiveness, attitude. No, we hated Geno. Hate is a strong word, 206. We hated Geno because of the interceptions. While that's what I saw complaints about most, might I also say, as someone who stares at a text line with dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of responses from listeners all day, that there is a chunk of fans, and I would say football fans in general, I don't think it's just Seahawks fans, there are a chunk of fans who don't particularly like brashness, who don't like an attitude, and who don't like ego, and for whom it is kind of off-putting.
They didn't like it from Geno. Tom Brady can do what the heck he wants to do. Peyton Manning do what the heck he wants to do. But people felt because Geno doesn't have the accolades that he shouldn't behave in certain ways.
And to that, I would push back and say, sometimes you need that ego on the field. And this, if you like a really laid back attitude of like, I'd grab a beer with that guy, that attitude might not always translate to being incredibly competitive on the field, which is what you need in order to succeed in a job where you fail a lot and where you face a lot of pressure. That being said, Sam succeeded last year. And he is a very laid-back, calm person.
And there's only a few quarterbacks you really want to grab a beer with who are like super laid-back. Most of these guys have to have that ego and that I'm special and that what I say goes type of attitude, or they wouldn't be in the position that they're in.
I just don't know that I would make that the measure of like who I want to root for.
But that's what's so weird about Sam Darnold, is because he has that California laid back type of attitude, and it's just something that we're not used to here.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree.
He's got all the tools though. He can do it. I just got to see it.
I agree with you, and there are a lot of questions on offense. Who is Sam when things fall apart is one of them. I guess I've thrown my eggs into the basket of offensive line improvement because I really do think that solves any problem you have. Ultimately, it's going to, like, not every team that has the number 1, 2, or 3 offensive line wins a Super Bowl every single year. It comes down to all the other pieces you have around you, right? Clint Kubiak has a job to do.
Mm-hmm.
Sam still has to perform, but I feel so... night and day different about this team if I knew that this offensive line would be better. I'm talking like 15th, 14th. You know what I mean? I'm talking like a C+, B-.
Yeah.
Like that would be stellar, because then I'd have faith that they could establish a run and balance out some of the pressure that Sam's going to face. But I have no idea what to expect from this offensive line.
No idea. Gray Zabel saved the day. We talk about rookies saving the day. Like, people are expecting the addition of Gray Zabel and a new coaching staff just to do wonders with this line, and I think it can. So that's why I just can't wait to get to training camp. What the commercial say, 16 days until training camp?
16 days.
16 days.
Do you want listener text or do you want 4-down territory?
We might as well go listener text.
Okay.
We're deep.
Someone said, I do apologize for the hate comment. That's aggressive.
That's aggressive.
Someone said, do I hear buyer's remorse?
Nah. That was the best option you had. No buyer's remorse.
They said you were the biggest Sam Darnold fan all of last year. You even bragged about it.
Yeah.
But I get you. I still think Sam will be back. This 808 saying, I do hear you, but they're wondering if you have buyer's remorse.
Nah. I was the biggest Sam Darnold fan last year because I knew what he was surrounded by. And I know what's here, but I just haven't seen it in motion. With the Vikings, I'd seen it, for a year or two and understood what's going on over there. Here, I haven't seen it, so I just don't know yet. And I'm the biggest Sam Darnold fan. Y'all got on me last week. Jordan Love's going to be the next guy, 2025.
Someone said, when Geno won Comeback Player of the Year and then returned for year 2 as a starter, it sure didn't seem like there were nearly as many questions as whether he could repeat things as there is with Sam Darnold now in year 2.
Say it again one more time.
So they're saying when Geno was Comeback Player and then came back, I think they're saying, why did we, as fans, not you and I, but why did we as everyone seem so much more certain that Geno and the Seahawks would improve than we do with Sam Darnold, who had a great year last year?
Because Geno did more with less. Sam Darnold had a great offensive line, a good run game, 2 good receivers, a tight end, a defense that was aggressive as heck. It was Minnesota is a destination. That's why people are expecting a lot out of J.J. McCarthy, because they see everything that he has over there. With Geno, we saw him just making plays happen where bodies are just falling at his feet, and that's hard to do.
I think there's also something to be said for being with that same group. Like Bum said, there are a lot of questions on offense. If Sam Darnold was coming to a team where the only step forward or improvement or change they made was, hey, they added Gray Zabel, you added a first-rounder to your offensive line, great. You no longer have DK Metcalf. You no longer have Tyler Lockett, both of whom were younger when Geno was coming in for his second year as a starter. You have a brand-new play caller here. Like, there are a ton of new faces on that side of the ball. You don't know exactly what your scheme is going to look like. You can take a guess because he comes from the Shanahan tree as to what it's going to look like. You don't know if it's going to work. Last year, you were one of the worst run games in football. So, yeah, I think it's that Sam isn't the only change, and it's that Sam had more around him, to Bump's point, last year than Geno did in that Comeback Player of the Year season.
Yeah.
So it's a good question, though.
Yeah, it's
good question. From everyone.
Good question.
All right. Speaking of questions, you guys can get your questions in for What I Need to Know. We're getting to that in about 20 minutes. 866-979-3776. Get those questions in. Let's see what's on tonight.
What's on tonight with Bump and Stacy, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot. Now, here's what's on tonight.
No Mariners. They have an off day today. Finally, much deserved, heading to New York. Meanwhile, you've got extra innings with Curtis Rogers tonight from 7 to 9 p.m. on Seattle Sports. Anything else you want to add, Curtis?
No. Just great 2 hours we got in store for us tonight.
7 p.m. Get ready for this Mariners series against the Yanks. And then don't forget, first pitch tomorrow for 10 p.m. Don't go anywhere.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
The voice of your Seattle Mariners, Aaron Goldsmith, is here with us. Aaron, are you running out of things to say about Cal Raleigh?
It is a really fun struggle to have, to try to frame his season in the proper context and to try to really present, truly at this point, as you know, historical examples for how one-of-a-kind this season is becoming for Cal Raleigh.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
If you've ever wondered if there's something after death, Tyler Henry proves the answer is yes.
Be part of his live audience readings and his jaw-dropping ability to connect with the departed at Muckleshoot Event Center, Thursday, July 10th and Friday, July 11th at 8 p.m. Experience this evening of hope and healing, bringing peace and closure to loved ones. Tyler Henry proves our loved ones never leave us. Get tickets at muckleshootcasino.com.
Muckleshoot.
Upgrade your view and comfort with Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Buy one window or door, get the second at 50% off through July, and enjoy 12 months same as cash financing. For details, visit lakewashingtonwindows.com.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit DanielNelsonMD.com. That's DanielNelsonMD.com.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, accurate auto body.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, accurate auto body.
Seahawks training camp, powered by Boeing, is back at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center, July 23rd through August 12th. Take in stunning lakeside views, grab autographs from your favorite players, and let the kids join in on pre-practice football drills and more. Register now at Seahawks.com/training camp.
The home of the Mariners.
One hopper snared at short. Not a quick hop by J.P. Crawford. That guy's a magician over there at shortstop.
Seattle Sports.
Download the Seattle Sports app.
Dave Wyman joined by a very special guest, Dr. Daniel Landis. He's on the Swedish CyberKnife team treating prostate cancer and accepting new patients. Dr. Landis, what could patients expect during CyberKnife treatment?
So the CyberKnife treatment's an outpatient procedure. Essentially, it's a 5-day treatment, about 30 minutes per day. You walk in, you walk out. You essentially don't feel anything at all during treatment. Many patients still work full-time while they're having treatment.
That's incredible. Where are your patients from?
We see patients from all over, patients from out of state, Alaska, Idaho, from all over the world, honestly, since it's such a short treatment.
How can someone get a hold of you?
Yeah, I would encourage patients to reach out to us directly. We'd be happy to schedule a consultation.
Thank you, Dr. Landis and the team at Swedish CyberKnife for the wonderful work they do. And remember, you don't need a physician's referral. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish CyberKnife. Go to swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate. That's swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through July 21st, new Comcast Business customers can find out how to get started with 150 megabit internet and Security Edge for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card for your business. Call and switch to Comcast Business today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Early termination fee applies.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Mariners hitting the road today. They have an off day and then opening a series against the Yankees tomorrow, 4:10 p.m. first pitch. And us and the rest of, I don't know, anyone watching this, New York, Seattle, baseball announcers are going to be talking about the MVP battle between Aaron Judge, still a heavy favorite, and Cal Raleigh, who has introduced himself to a brand new set of fans across the country this year. Getting started here, as part of Cal being in the home run derby, MLB.com's Daniel Kramer uncovered via Cal's dad, Todd.
Yeah, I think Cal's dad was like, hey, I got this video.
Yeah, this feels like a classic kind of parent.
Very much a dad move.
Very dad move. Let's hear it.
I'm the home run derby champ.
Oh.
Say in the champ. I'm the home run derby champ. He got
I wasn't in a contest, was he?
You ought go win Pete. What you say? I'm the man. Oh yeah.
High-pitched voice is 8-year-old Cal Raleigh.
8-year-old Cal Raleigh, who's celebrating winning a home run derby in his mind.
How fortuitous.
Yeah. I mean, that's, an adorable video. Then I asked you guys if there was a video that you'd be livid about. I don't know if Cal's livid. I don't know, Cal. I asked you guys if there would be a video you'd be livid about your parents
Heck
releasing.
yeah.
I'd be so heated.
Yeah. Me and my cousins, Trinae and Maddie. I didn't have any siblings growing up, so they were like my sisters. And we used to perform like random songs for our family on the little fireplace, the little ledge elevated on the fireplace.
I think you mean the stage.
Like how did three of us even fit on that thing? Yeah, and I guarantee you there is a video out there that my grandmother has of us just looking silly as heck.
What would you have been performing?
I don't know. We would perform songs like that they would listen to, on the record player and stuff,
Okay.
like some old stuff, and we just
A lot of doo-wop.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And they would be sitting there with their Budweisers and just clapping along and letting us make a fool of ourselves.
I know that video was
Goodness
out there
gracious.
somewhere.
Grandma Love, do not bring that.
Please
destroy
do.
the video, love.
No, please
Destroy
send it. Please send it. Curtis, did you have one?
I don't
couldn't
know.
think of
I mean,
one.
we kind of grew up in the YouTube era where like friends would post stuff of like videos of you just hanging out and stuff, and it was all very, very bizarre. I can't really think of one.
I couldn't think of one either. I wish that there were videos of me performing a cool song with my cousins. I'd
You say
circulate
that
all around.
until you see it. and
No,
you're
I'm
like,
sure I knew that I would be a superstar. So I should have known watching that video. Anyways, we were all joking about this during the break when we saw that video of Cal, just reminiscing about like, oh my God, what would our parents absolutely show our friends where we'd be like, please don't, we're begging you not to. And like, as people who aren't Cal, you look at this and you go, oh my God, this is adorable. Look at this little adorable 8-year-old who, little known to him, 20 years later is going to actually be not just in the home run derby, but headlining the home run derby as the home run leader that year. And here we are about to head into a series between the Yankees and Mariners where the odds-on favorite for MVP, Aaron Judge, is going to be compared directly to the guy who's right behind him in Cal Raleigh.
Yeah, that's got to be cool, man. His parents watching that video and having their son just live out their dream, because it's rare that you get to live out your dream. As a kid, What you want to be when you grow up?
It was between a teacher, a waitress, or an actress.
Waitress.
Boy, those are some hard
Yeah.
professions to
Those
make a
were the
living
things
in.
I make believe when I was little that I was a teacher.
Why a waitress? No disrespect to waitresses.
No, yeah,
but
I don't
why a
know. I
waitress?
really liked. I liked pouring. I would put Coke or Diet Coke in our coffee pot, and I would make my mom and my stepdad sit at the counter and pour them coffee, and I would literally I was like a small town diner waitress
Call
coming
yourself
up.
Flo.
Yeah, exactly. Coming up, being like, "Hey, welcome in. What can I get you?" And
Chewing
then
on
I'd
your
take their
gum.
order.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I just used to make believe that I was a waitress all the time. That was my dream job.
Curtis, what you want to do?
Oh, I wanted to play center field for the Mariners.
Center field.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Wow, that's
absolutely.
ambitious.
Well, I was left-handed. Ken Griffey Jr. was left-handed, so I was like, oh, this is a
Made sense
natural
at the
progression.
time.
Yeah.
And you were coming up when Griffey was just in his heyday,
Yeah,
so you're
he'll-
like, "This is who I will
I
be."
charted it out. I graduated high school 2009. That was his last good year in Major League Baseball. So I was like, oh, yeah, I'll just take over right after he's done. It'll be
Nice.
great. And, well, that didn't happen.
See, my family were tiny Italians, so I knew that athleticism was just not in the cards for me.
I had
But waitressing
Ichiro's-
could be.
I had Ichiro's batting stance all throughout Little League. I was like, I'm going to be the next right fielder. I've got it. Dustin Pedroia was my other guy. I was like, I don't need to keep growing. There's just little dudes out there
You're like,
smacking
"I
it. I'll
can
be
be
fine.
me."
Yeah, exactly.
Bump, you lived out your dream.
Somewhat, not to the extent
you got a lot
I
closer than
wanted
we
to.
did.
You got
Yeah.
there. You got closer than any of us did.
Yeah, Curtis is still. You could do walk-ons, buddy.
I can get on the field for a small amount of time.
Hey, well, that's kind of cool though. That you're.
I got in the realm of
just
it.
a different angle.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
all it is. Yeah.
It's a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
I, in the vein of hindsight being 2020 and looking back at the cool developments that have been made. Like, I loved your question about being like, what did you want to be when you were little? And like, how did your life turn out? And, are you where you thought you would be? I think it's also very cool that neither Cal nor Aaron Judge, though they were drastically different prospects, were people that people would have foreseen as being who they are as players. Cal wasn't even a top 100 prospect. He was a third-round pick. Aaron Judge was not a top prospect in baseball. You said he was around anywhere between 20th and 30th when he debuted. It's not like he wasn't well-regarded, but we aren't talking about someone who was seen as like, oh my God, you wouldn't believe it. This guy's making his debut. It's unreal. Lots of potential, but you said it's just not.
Yeah, he debuted late, 24 years
Yeah.
old. Was a first-round pick, but still pick number 32 or at the very end of the first round. He never had this kind of hype or attention when he was coming up through the Yankees farm system, that's for sure.
So I think that's really cool, too, that sometimes the people that end up becoming stars aren't people that everyone thought would. And I
Yeah.
know there's still kind of a gulf between the projections for Judge and for Cal. But to Judge's credit, I don't know how many people thought that he'd be breaking baseball records forever.
Nah, I guarantee you they try to make him play football at some point. Like, you sure you want to do this?
You don't want to be a tight end?
I mean, you could do this, but no, that's cool. And I think what's also cool about the story between Cal and Aaron Judge is that they both are really likable. You know, like I know the New York media is tough or whatnot on the Yankees, especially now with their losing streak, but no one ever questions Aaron Judge's like character and his work ethic. And I think that's the same thing with Cal. Cal's probably one of the most relatable stars in all of sports. He just looks like an average dude who just likes to hit bombs. And even his interviews, you know, he seems genuine. So that makes it even better. Because like Juan Soto's a fun story, but Juan Soto is like, he's a showman, right? When he's in the home run derby and all that stuff, it just feels like he seeks out the spotlight. And there's nothing wrong with that, but, you know, he knows he's a star, whereas these two are like, yeah, I'm good, but I'm just a regular guy too.
Yeah, I find it like a very, while a lot of people here in Seattle for fair reason hate the Yankees, I find it otherwise a likable MVP race where you're like, on the one hand, you've got someone who's been setting some crazy records with Aaron Judge.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other, you've got a guy who the vast majority of people talking about him outside of Seattle are hearing about him for the first time. Is that on them?
Yeah.
Sure. He's been leading catchers in home runs for several seasons, but I don't know how many people saw. We've talked to experts, people on this team. We talked with Scott Hunter, who was literally in charge of scouting these guys, who was like, I'm going to be honest, while we were really high on Cal and thought he'd be special, I don't know that we saw this.
Right.
So.
Before we get out of here, man, 206 makes a good point. Stacy, you can still become a waitress. Dream big.
That's true. I'm the only one who can still
do it.
Who can still follow my dream. I don't know if teacher. I'd have to go back to school, but
I ain't going back to school for nothing.
But waitress is still up for grabs.
Waitress
Like
is
I
there.
could still fulfill my lifelong dream of pouring Diet Coke out of a coffee. What's it called? A pot.
Coffee pot? Yeah. Were you looking for, was it carafe?
I don't even know.
Carafe.
God, I'm such a horrible waitress. Get your questions in for what I need to know. 866-979-3776.
This summer, the Mariners take over Atlanta with the All-Star Fantastic Four.
Holy smokes!
Andres,
99 crackles over the corner.
Ryan
Wu has retired 13 Yankees in a row. Julio Rodriguez dives and he makes the catch.
and Cal.
Number 34 for the big number.
Congratulations to the Mariners All-Star 4 from the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Why is Mazda of Everett the #1 dealer on the West Coast? Mazda of Everett is locally owned and operated for 20 years. They work hard to get you their best deal every time and to make sure you drive away happy. With over 700 new Mazdas, they stock more than anyone in the Seattle area. Find out for yourself why people keep coming back to Mazda of Everett. Take advantage of the Mazda of Everett price during the More to Move You sales event. MazdaofEverett.com. Claims based on Mazda USA inventory and sales reports.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, HIMS can help. Through HIMS.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds, through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs, with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Rita, Jorge, let's bring the nail gun over here.
Jose stands tall atop his sustainable flooring company.
Totally. It's renewable and moisture resistant, but we have several green options too. Or we got some beautiful reclaimed oak.
But floored by his success, he needs to hire more installers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Adam Schefter here for Vivid Seats, your ultimate destination for all your sports and concert needs this summer. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every home run and thrilling comeback in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours. The Bump and Stacy Show is powered in part each day by the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Go to pendergastlaw.com.
Are you frustrated with those trendy weight loss shots and not getting the long-term results you really want?
This is Dr. Ryan Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss, and whether you've hit a plateau, can't handle the side effects, or watch the pounds creep back after stopping, there's a better way. Our program has helped over 4,000 people lose up to 10 to 20% of their body weight in just 8 weeks without expensive injections or uncomfortable side effects. Our doctor-developed program costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast. Ready for real lasting results? Visit eastsideweightlossclinic.com now to schedule your free consultation.
Did he just say Eastside Weight Loss Clinic is half the cost and works twice as fast as weight loss injections? Well, if that's not reason enough, you don't risk the scary side effects or gaining the weight back as soon as you stop. Eastside Weight Loss Clinic is natural, and it works.
Many clients lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two, and you can do our program remotely from anywhere you live. Schedule your free consultation at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. That's eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
Hey, everybody, it's Bob Stelton here. Let me tell you about one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. I went to K2 Vision for refractive lens exchange. Now, I'm somebody who struggled with up-close vision. I couldn't read restaurant menus. I couldn't read receipts. I couldn't read the text on my phone. I had this crazy large font on there. I put the readers away. I went to K2 Vision, and I'm actually reading some of what I'm saying to you right now. I couldn't do that before. It's amazing. So if you're like me, you struggle with distance vision, or you always need a pair of glasses, K2 Vision RLE is quick. It's absolutely painless, and I am seeing great without glasses or readers. RLE is a game changer. I'm excited to spend my good active years not needing reading glasses. K2 Vision RLE gave me great vision that, more importantly, is permanent. The doctors at K2 Vision have performed over 150,000 lens procedures, so they know when RLE is right for you. Schedule your free Zoom consultation today at K2VisionRLE.com. K2 Vision RLE, no readers, glasses, contacts, or cataracts. That's K2VisionRLE.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
This is Bumpin' Stacy
weekdays 10 to 2.
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Get your questions in for What I Need to Know, 866-979-3776. Would you rather live out your dream? We all talked about the dreams we had of our jobs when we were kids. Or correct your biggest mistake. And you don't have to say what either would be, but if you had to choose.
Live out my dream. Yeah. Play 10 years in the league. Woo!
I don't know that I've ever done anything where I think about it every day and think, wow, that was so horrible that you chose that.
I think about just not hollering at the beautiful girl at the bar that I bought a drink in Boise and just walking away from her.
That was a huge
You Irish goodbye her before even saying hello.
That's one of my favorite stories of all time.
She gave me a shot.
Yes, she did.
And was like, okay, what's up now? All right.
Because you didn't know what comes next.
I didn't know what to do.
You had no idea. You were like, so you just buy a girl a drink, right? And then you walk away.
What do we talk about? No game.
She probably tells her friends all the time, this guy one time bought me a drink and then just didn't say anything.
Oh, I bet you
walked
anything
away.
she thought, is it me? Did he see me from afar, think I was cute, buy a drink, and then I turned to face him and he left? That would mess with my head.
It's dead, man. My sons will never do that. They're going to be equipped for that moment.
I love that story. Yeah, live out your dream. Well, if I would change mine from being a waitress to maybe being the Oscar-winning actress, singer. I don't know, that's it, really. I was going to say dancer, but that's too ambitious.
Can't be a triple threat.
Yeah, no.
J-Lo did it. J-Lo's triple threat.
I mean, is she a great singer, though?
Yeah, I think J-Lo's
I think she's a great dancer.
Yeah, jack of all trades, master of none.
Sure. A lot of people have gone platinum.
Sure. 866-979-3776. For adults, is ketchup on a hot dog acceptable?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
I don't put it on my hot dogs, but I'm not going to.
Is ketchup only a child's condiment?
So what do you put on your hot dogs then, Curtis?
Mustard.
Just mustard.
Just mustard?
Yeah. I go just mustard.
I go ketchup, mustard. I do both.
Just ketchup sounds gross, but I would never look at it and think what a child. Yeah. Am I unaware of this? Is ketchup just
Ketchup is one of those foods, though, I've noticed as I've gotten older, I eat less and less of.
Mm-hmm.
As a child, if you handed me some McDonald's fries, I'd probably get 6 of those ketchup cups just to dunk. Yeah.
You guys put ketchup on with your macaroni?
No.
I
My
did that
sister
when I
did.
was little.
Yeah.
And didn't realize like how nasty it was until I stopped doing it, and I was like, oh, this was a real problem.
Wyman still does, and he tells a story of him. I think he went to like Daniel's Broiler one time, and he ordered lobster macaroni, and then pulls the waiter aside and he's like, "You probably don't get this request very often, but can I have a bottle of ketchup?
That's
I love it on my
shameful.
macaroni."
Oh,
Yeah,
my
that
Shameful.
lobster mac probably costs like $100.
Yeah.
Oh my God. 866-979-3776. Today's World Chocolate Day. What's the best chocolate treat?
Reese's.
Yeah, that's number one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Kinder Bueno.
Those the little hippo thingies.
No, it's like a
like a
longer
wafer?
bar. I think we've got them downstairs actually. It's like a
But it's still like the hazelnut and
yeah,
cream
it's hazelnut
filling. So
cream
good.
with wafer
Yeah,
gas.
really, really good. Number two, a controversial choice for number two, but it is obviously Twix.
Twix is fire.
Yeah.
Love Twix.
I think that Twix gets a little too much disrespect and Snickers gets a little too much respect. Like, I think that we could tip the scales a little bit. It's like, I don't know if Snickers is like, it's the equivalent of the Yankees where it's like, it's always going to get preferential treatment even when it doesn't really deserve it.
Who buys Three Musketeers?
I,
You? You do? You go to the store
they
and
wouldn't be my
purchase
first choice.
Three Musketeers.
Those used to be like top three for me when I was younger.
Really?
I don't know why people hate Three Musketeers.
Is it because they're soft
Yes.
in the middle?
Yeah, but
you
the
get
thing
the
is,
crunch on the outside.
Here's
and
the
then,
thing. I love chocolate-covered marshmallows. So that's kind of like I love the hard shell chocolate, and then the inside is like mushiness. So any candy that's like that.
Only time I get Three Musketeers is Halloween. And then someone passes them out
Those
in
are-
little
those
fun
are-
bags.
Today, top five.
you know candies you see on Halloween that you never see any other time around the year?
Yep.
Crackle and Mr. Goodbar.
I don't know that.
I don't even
one.
know what those
Those
are.
are
Yeah, I've never
they're
met 'em.
Hershey's. Crackle is like Hershey's version of a Crunch Bar, and then a Mr. Goodbar
Oh, like the red
is like
one,
chocolate
the
and
Crackles
nuts.
that's a
yeah,
K.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
I
they
see,
only
I
make them
see.
in minis for Halloween.
think
Like they
so.
don't make regular size.
Yeah, I've never seen one.
Also, the Tootsie Rolls, but they're different colors. Where it's like
Oh
blue,
yeah,
Yeah.
red.
pink. It's a no for me. Okay. 866-979-3776. Out of the three of you, who could eat the most normal-sized donuts in 10 minutes?
10 minutes?
10 minutes.
That might be like two.
I could eat 4.
4 in 10 minutes.
No, I could eat 3.
Normal size donuts, I can maybe 4, 5.
5 in 10 minutes.
10
That's
minutes?
2 minutes
You
a
need to
donut.
be honest with yourself.
2 minutes? Yeah, I got that
5?
in me. Got that in me.
I don't.
If
I don't
it's
think you
for-
got that dog in
it's
you.
If
But
it's
you
for
were
the
almost
sake-
40 years old, sir.
For the sake of competition, man, I can tap into to
You
a
know what?
special
I do.
place.
That's
I could
the
get
part I
3
do
in
believe.
10.
Like I do believe that Bumpwood is so competitive that he would
Just
make
throwing up
himself. Yeah,
everywhere.
he would go until he was sick. 866-979-3776. Let's see what I need to know. Now I have to be choosy. I'm going through. Wait, I can't tell what this person's saying. You guys are curious your outlook on this texter who's asking about Russ and Gino and Sam. Can you send that back in? I feel like it could be interesting, but I don't know what you're trying to ask. I'll save it for tomorrow if you get it in time. You guys aren't talking about chocolate. You're talking about candy bars. My favorite chocolate used to be the holiday chocolate at the Bon Marché.
Well, like, you just want to like a Hershey bar? That's so boring.
I don't want that.
I could probably put down an entire bag of mini Heath bars. If you get like really cold mini Heath, those
That's when
those
you're
go
chewing
crazy.
toffee with toffee.
Yeah,
like you get
basically.
so much toffee in your teeth that you're using toffee coated teeth to break down toffee.
Still good.
Krispy Kreme, easy 4 in 10 minutes. I think add 1 to all of our totals if it's Krispy Kreme.
Oh yeah, those are.
You could smash those.
You can eat a
could smash,
dozen
like,
and you don't even
6.
feel like
Yeah.
you've eaten
You could
anything.
smash 6 together and eat them. 866-979-3776. Have you tried Dubai chocolate? What's the green?
I don't know.
I'm
It's
not-
very
I'm too poor
popular
for
these
all that.
days, but I have not gotten into it.
No disrespect to the chicken nugget and Lunchable generation, but mustard and relish are the only acceptable condiments on a hot dog. Onions sometime allowed. Ketchup has no business anywhere near a hot dog ever.
First time I've ever heard that.
I think it's a Midwest or East Coast thing, but like I know New Yorkers who are like, I will never put ketchup on a hot dog, and it's like, just get over yourself.
Really?
Do what tastes good.
Someone at the 208 says, was $30 too much for a baked potato at Gasworks yesterday?
Yeah.
You're insane.
That thing better been loaded.
Who's ordering a baked potato on an 80-degree day?
I'm assuming it's fully loaded.
That's hot.
It's got to have bacon bits, sour cream, cheese, chives. I'm sure it has everything, but absolutely you were right.
Nothing I love
Yeah.
eating outdoors on an 80-degree day more than a baked potato.
A great baked potato.
Sweating.
There's no way. $30? Is this like a fake joke about something else? $30 baked potato. I'm going to go find this potato and get them for all of us. Okay, you guys. That'll do it for us. Wyman and Bob coming up next.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
The voice of your Seattle Mariners, Aaron Goldsmith, is here with us. Aaron, are you running out of things to say about Cal Raleigh?
It is a really fun struggle to have to try to frame his season in the proper context and to try to really present, truly at this point, as you know, historical examples for how one-of-a-kind this season is becoming for Cal Raleigh.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Everyone always asks me, what were your top reasons for choosing Advanced Hair? Well, allow me to share, along with some details, on, get this, their once-a-year summer savings event. Okay, first off, Advanced Hair stands by the results, and I'm living proof those results are second to none. With Advanced Hair, your own natural hair is guaranteed to grow. Secondly, Advanced Hair combines top-rated physicians with modern technology, creating a concierge quality experience that blew away my expectations. And lastly, Advanced Hair's Advanced FUE begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. It is quick, simple, and easy. Now, if you have a flexible schedule this summer and you've been waiting for that special savings opportunity, well, it's here. Advanced Hair's Summer Savings Event will get you the most hair for your dollar. It's their best offer ever. For details to schedule your free consultation, call 425-449-8185. One-day treatment, life-changing results. Your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Before and after pictures at advancedhair.com.
Dave Wyman here for Harley Exteriors. When you hear Harley Exteriors, think windows manufactured right here in Washington, specifically designed for our Pacific Northwest climate. Olympic Series windows are offered exclusively by Harley Exteriors. It looks absolutely stunning, much better than a traditional vinyl window, and these windows last up to 60 years. They're going to lower your energy bills and provide year-round comfort. They come with a double lifetime, fully transferable warranty, meaning not only are you covered for glass breaking or damaged seals, it's going to help you with your home's resale value. Very affordable with options like 0 payments and 0 interest up to 12 months for qualified buyers. In July, Harley Exteriors is offering 50% off basic installation, no payments, no interest for 12 months, and an additional $200 off your entire project. Call 833-HARLEY or go to harleyexteriors.com.
Are you worried about economic conditions, tariffs, and inflation? Are you tired of trying to time the stock market? Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given current market volatility. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Hi, I'm Scott Rirucka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years with 0 investor losses, averaging double-digit returns since inception, and we also accept IRAs. Over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Feeling uneasy? Don't gamble your hard-earned money or risk your retirement. Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, returning 9%, has limited openings for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that. and third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
With Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, you can easily find the right home insurance for you, even if it's not with Progressive. But if you don't choose us, then sure, okay, it's not going to work out. We're not going to cry about it or stay awake wondering what our future together would have looked like. We can't get emotionally invested even if it sounds like we are. Progressive's Home Quote Explorer allows you to easily compare home insurance rates and coverages in one place, even if it's not with us. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. I love you. I shouldn't have said that.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here from my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen, and PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas